And we are back. Couch Company Podcast. I'm John. With me, as always, Tyler.
Hey.
Wow, quick cut off there.
Yeah. Well, I had to run from that to over here.
I know. That disturbed me a little bit.
Sorry.
That's okay. I forgive you.
No one knows. I'll fix it in post.
Well, not really.
That's what they say.
You already have it spliced in.
That's what I mean. I'll fix it in post.
No, because it's already fixed.
Oh, yeah.
No
I fixed it in post.
There you go.
Thanks, Past Tyler.
There you go.
Actually, Past Tyler might have screwed me because I just reformatted my computer.
Oh,
I don't think I saved the template.
Oh, no.
All right.
Because you did that after last week's episode.
Yeah, and because we're recording on a Sunday, that means this evening is going to be a little extra worky poo.
You're going to fix it in post.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, whatever.
So you're trying to be cute with that.
And now
you actually have to fix it in post.
That's fine. I'll do it.
Okay. Welcome.
Thanks.
So you had to reformat your computer.
I don't know if I had to. I wanted to.
I was told that you do that like every week. I think Nate told me that.
Yeah, look, he exaggerates. I do it maybe.
Nah. I have never known my cousin to ever exaggerate on anything.
Every 2 to 3 months, I think I format it because it's clean. It's like, you know how you experiment, right? And it's like, oh, I put on this piece of software because it, like Overwolf or whatever, and it's like, oh, cool, that helped me with WoW, just to remember that WoW is a bad game. And then it's like, okay, well, now it's like it's tainted my computer because you can never like fully get rid of it. Even if I delete uninstall it, there's still like little
I had Overwolf
folders
once,
and stuff
for League because they have a League like attachment or whatever, and it's a virus, dude. That shit is fucking malware.
Sure.
Yeah, you're scrubbing that shit forever.
Yep.
I don't have it anymore because I think luckily I had it on my old computer, so my new computer is safe.
Okay.
By the way, what browser do you use? I've always wanted to ask you this.
Chrome.
You use Chrome?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate Chrome.
Yeah, me too.
I use Brave. You ever heard of Brave?
Is that across all platforms though?
What do you mean?
So the reason why I use Chrome is because it goes through Mac, PC, and my phone.
I see. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I've
never heard of Brave.
No, it's really great because it's like got a built-in antivirus or ad blocker, I should say.
Okay. Like a VPN type of situation?
Yeah, like built into the browser. To the point where whenever I go allegedly on these sketchy streaming sites to watch sporting events, allegedly.
Oh, sporting events? Yeah.
No, actually sporting events.
Yeah. Sure.
No, dude.
No, I get it. I'm agreeing with you.
Look.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about any.
No, you're talking about sporting events.
Anyways, so when I watch these sporting events, I totally lost my train of thought there. Oh, it's to the point where on these sketchy sites, they're like, you're not allowed to use this browser.
Yeah.
Because we cannot get any ads on you. So the ad blocker's that good. I'm like,
that's good.
Love that. Love that. Because I was like doing some research. So I was on this one website I use for League that shows me like all the champion stats and everything, like win rates and stuff and builds.
Yeah.
And I clicked on this thing by accident and just downloaded this shit. And I was like, fuck. And I just did like research for the rest of the night. Like, what is the best browser for that? And now when I go on that site, it is just no pop-ups, dude.
That's awesome.
Just that site.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I was in a test group for Arc.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, ARC. It's an Arc browser.
I've heard of that.
It's fine. Because it's like, oh, browse how you want to browse. And you can get like, you can actually customize websites and stuff. It's like, oh, you want, I don't know why you do this, but like you want every website to have like papyrus font. You could theoretically do it. But it just doesn't make sense to me because it's like the UI of it wasn't good in my mind.
Yeah.
And that kills it for me. If the UI is bad, like I don't care if it's the best built browser, like I'm out. It doesn't matter.
UI for Brave is, well, I'm not an expert on UI, as you know. I really don't mind too much stuff. It doesn't offend me like it does you. So I would be curious what you think of it. I'll have to show you sometime.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Like my main thing is on a 4K monitor, right? Like I have a big TV as my main driver, and that's fine. But if I'm working on like my 13-inch MacBook Pro, and your browser has like a left like sidebar, and that's your nav.
Yeah,
that is a lot of real estate to take up for that. Where I I don't have patience for that. And Arc doesn't give you an option, to my knowledge.
Okay.
They might have. I stopped using them, so they might have updated since then.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I was searching around like, Chrome and stuff. Safari's terrible. Firefox. But everyone was like, you see in these videos now, like people are sponsored by Opera GX or something, which is like you know what that is?
No.
Oh, it's like this gaming browser.
That's exactly what it sounded like.
You can like set your PC settings through the browser and stuff, and then you can also like there's a lot of cool things you can do with it. But like I was doing the research on it. It's like a Chinese company.
So that's bad.
And
right?
It's like they need access to your computer if you're setting your temps and stuff. And it's like, I'm like,
no.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that scares the pants off me because you got all these huge creators who are sponsored by these guys.
Yeah.
And it's like...
It's weird. It's like, yeah.
I'm like, do they know?
Yep.
They must know, right? I don't know. I don't like that, dude, because like I almost fell into that. I don't want to say trap. Maybe it works great and maybe I'm being tinfoil hat man, but...
No,
I'm just not. Like, that seems risky.
The more we get into this kind of current state of tracking and what we consider like fine, it starts scaring me more and more. And like, okay, like, my kid's coming in a couple months, understanding cybersecurity and like what she can and can't do online and different things like that. Like, I'm going to research the heck out of that. Because that terrifies me on like how bad it is for our generation. Like imagine the next generation.
Right. Yeah.
Like the thing that scared me, like I went with like Nate and Abby and Mike and Miranda to the Texas Day Brazil, like for Nate's birthday.
Yes.
And
how'd that go, by the way?
Oh, we'll get there.
Oh yeah. We'll get there.
It went fine, but we'll get there.
Oh, you should have left me in suspense.
Okay, sorry.
I thought there was like a big moment.
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
We're not friends anymore.
Yeah. Mike stormed out now.
Mike's not a storm out kind of guy.
But my iPhone the next day pinged me because I don't know if you noticed, there's a journal app that popped up on your iPhone. Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It popped up and it sent me a notification like, hey, how about this for an entry? And it's my weekend, event at Texas Day Brazil. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, just because like you know your phone's tracking you. You know if the government wanted to shoot a missile up your butt, they pinpoint you and you're done.
Yeah.
But like
weird example, but yeah.
Well, when it's like when it's like brazen like that, feels bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, I always tell you about my GPS. It like learns your routines, and it's like, dude, if a hitman ever wanted to get me. Like, he knows where I'm going to be every Friday night, dude. It's like...
Yeah.
So I was really happy coming to your house because it confused my GPS. It's like, you want to go to La Plaza?
Yeah.
Whatever?
Yeah.
And it's like, no. I
said
no. And it was very confused.
It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah. It's like, are you sure? No, didn't do that. But, no.
Yeah.
So anyways, I was researching Brave to make sure they're not a Chinese company because I was like saying all that about the other one. I was like, I don't actually know.
Oh, you're doing that right now?
Yeah. Their headquarters is in San Francisco, and they're a private company.
Okay.
So
it's funny.
That's better news than government company.
Sure. Yeah.
And their headquarters is in Shanghai.
It is funny how like people assume like, oh, what's a .gov website? So like that should be, you should feel safe going there. And it's like,
yeah. The government's never done anything wrong in the history of the world.
It's okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I'll say, well, actually, no. The UI is probably terrible for government websites. You ever seen the White House?
Here's the thing with
it's
that.
Like terrible.
It's not great. Like it's not flashy.
No.
But also like for how much stuff they have on those sites, like it's not the worst. Like it's
I did do a presentation on that website back in college.
On the
in my English
White House 102,
one? Yeah. I wasn't impressed by it.
What'd you get? Yeah, I was gonna say, what'd you give it? Nothing.
I didn't give it. I just was like, it was. I did cite positives and negatives about the website or whatever.
Oh, I gotcha.
And it was similar analysis to yours. Like, the information's good. It's
getting where you need to be.
Getting where you
tough.
need to be is fairly easy, but you would think like this is like people who are curious about our country should be like.
Yep.
That's how you know it's not a business. You know what I mean? Like if it was a business, I think that you have a different mindset.
That always made me wonder. Like you watch all these debates and stuff, and just the way people talk about China and the threat of China and China and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, China has to be watching these, right?
Yeah.
Like they have to. Like I'm not saying necessarily the citizenship because I know that it's like locked down or theoretically, I don't know.
The Great Firewall, dude.
The Great Firewall.
That's the thing.
Yeah. But
it's also a wonder in civilization.
The Great Firewall?
Yeah.
What?
So if you have, the wonders that you have, you can get in the civilization.
So it's like a late one.
It's a late one, in the technology age, but it reduces, I think, it like improves happiness, I think, and then it like reduces because spies in the later stage of the game are very important because you start stealing technologies off other people.
Okay.
So this one very much
just locks
reduce.
You in there,
Yeah. It's a good counter against spies in 5 at least. I don't know in 6.
Sure.
I played a lot of 5.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, little tangent there.
No, it's just it's weird that people would go on record and being like, I'm gonna stop them in their tracks and blah 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, what if you got to be president? Then what? You have to be in a room with them and shake their hand and pretend that everything's like they'll say one thing about how like we're gonna be tough on China, and then the next press conference that they're together with, they're gonna be like, we're best friends. We brokered this wonderful trade deal or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. You think it'd be better if like everyone could just speak the same language?
What language? Common?
Common, yeah.
Yeah. So English.
No, I don't think common's necessarily English, but probably.
Well, let me ask you this. Would you rather learn a new language?
No.
That everyone spoke, that that the entire global...
Well, how hard is it?
I don't know.
I'm very bad at language.
It would have to be new, right? Like it would have to be a net new, like no relation to anything.
See, that's really hard because there are different, depending on like where you come from and what language you're speaking, there are just certain sounds people do not make.
Right.
So it's like, you see this a lot in the East when they speak English because like some of our sounds, like ours, for example, just do not exist in those languages at all. So it's like you'd have to have a fundamental universal language that has sounds that every person can produce.
It's just grunts and groans and moans and clicks of
it might be.
Teeth and tongue. Yeah.
Or we could just all do sign language would seem like,
That could be interesting.
Because I don't think sign language is that difficult.
It's not.
I've heard people...
Is it universal? Is sign language, like, if you go to, like, China...
I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that. I know in the Western world, it's pretty universal. Like, I've seen it in South America, Europe, obviously.
Huh.
But I don't know in the East... I've never seen it in like
that'd be interesting.
China. Have you? I'm trying to think.
No, but I don't know.
Because I remember there was like this Brazilian thing. I don't know if it was Brazil, but it was somewhere in South America where they were some guy who won something for mayor or governor or something, and this guy was signing, and he was totally it was fake.
Yeah.
He was. It was a national broadcast. And this guy was just making shit up.
Just because he didn't know it or just...
Yeah, he did not know sign language.
Yeah.
But he was up there as like his sign language person. So I don't know if it was a thing where it's like, oh, we've seen like, people in the US do this.
So just miming it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if they're mocking it or if they're just like, oh, we're just trying to be official here or something. Yeah. But like someone was like, "That's not sign language." Like someone pointed out, it was the funniest thing, man.
Well, the thing with sign language too, and my dad does this, is there's like the right like technical way, right? So like if my mom tried to sign something, she would do what like is the technical correct, like almost like the equivalent of like proper grammar, right?
Yeah.
But then people that actually sign are doing like shorthand and quick whatever and stuff like that.
Sure.
So like my dad would be using effectively like sign language slang and whatnot. So he'd go really, really fast and stuff. And people that sign would understand it. But my mom, it was tough because she would have been like the equivalent of like, hello, Jonathan, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird thing, but
no, I mean, that's like common whenever you learn any kind of language, right? Like you learn like a formal structure of it, and this is just not how people talk.
Do you think Gen Z has something with all the words and phrases and all this
I think
crap
I'm Gen
that they're
Z, right?
making out?
Or is that one younger than me?
I thought it was one younger than you.
What am I?
I think you're just in that gray millennial era.
No, is Gen Z after millennial?
Yeah.
I'm a Gen Z.
Gen Y? I don't know.
No.
We could look it up, but
No, I'm right on the edge of millennial and Gen Z.
yeah, but I thought I was too. Or like I was like a millennial.
On the other side?
Yeah, let me see.
Between a millennial and a what, though? A boomer?
I don't know. I'm going to find out real quick.
Okay.
Millennials versus Gen Z. So as of 2023, okay, so members of the Gen Z years were born between 1997 and 2012.
Yeah, 97. Man.
You were born 97, so you just hit it. Okay.
Yeah, January 97.
Yeah, right.
Just hit it. But that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
I can fit into the Gen Z. Like I can turn on my Gen Z, and I can turn on my millennial.
You said something the other day. Say less. You said that.
Yeah. See, this is a huge advantage, bro.
I know.
This is a huge advantage.
I don't like it.
So, a lot of my friends are like 30 in their mid 30s.
Yeah.
Right?
You bridge the gap.
And I can hang. I can hang with them, you know? But my other friends are my age.
Yeah.
I don't really have any friends that are younger, but like I think I could. I think I could get there. I might try this. I might go to Southside next week.
And
see if I can hang still. Carson City.
I'm sure you could.
College night Thursday.
It's getting to be spring break, so maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Close.
It's getting there.
It's like March, right?
Lent started. It'd be April, I think.
Lent did start.
Easter, right?
Yeah.
Easter might be in March this year. Is that right?
Yes.
That's crazy. It's early.
It is weird.
Yeah.
It's a leap year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Throws everything off, I think. But
yeah, you said say less, and I didn't know. I used context clues, but I didn't like it.
It's cool, though.
I understood it. Nah, I don't know.
You don't think so?
I'm just coming around to bet. Like
I never liked bet.
I might that slip.
I never
slip
liked
out,
bet.
which means that's probably why I like it.
Yeah, that would make sense, but I don't know. Bet
is like, all right, I'm in. Like, I'll do this thing, right? So
yeah, bet means it's a confirmation. Like, okay.
Yeah.
But I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know what else I don't like? I don't like spill the tea. Spill the tea doesn't make any fucking sense to me at all. You know? Because, like, I've heard spill the beans.
Yeah.
And then if we're going spill the beans and we want an evolution off of spilling the beans, why aren't we spilling the coffee? Spill the coffee because coffee comes from beans.
That is a phenomenal...
Right?
That's a...
Like, wouldn't that be the new age version? Our beans have turned into coffee?
Yeah, but tea is...
one syllable.
Yeah, but what's it short for?
Gossip.
No, I know.
What does it mean?
There's got to be something else.
No, I don't know. I don't think so. I've asked numerous amounts of people, and this goes back to my app idea, by the way, that you've poo-pooed over and over.
What, the anime one? The game one?
No, the one where it's like you can look up a phrase or something, and it tells you what it means.
That's a great app.
No. I'm going to text our research department. And
we haven't given it. That's a hard job. Tell you what, if the research department finds that.
Uh-oh. This has got to be significant.
How many people are going to see Dune?
5?
5? All right. Well, let me do some quick calculations here.
But the theater's probably sold out.
Yeah. If the research department, so when you were trying to do that specific app,
I don't think the research department listens to us anymore, by the way.
Which is fine, which is why I feel like this is a safe bet.
I know, but he has to remove his research department title from all of his social media if he's not going to listen to the show.
That's fair. That's a good point.
That's what I was saying.
But what I'm saying is, if the research department goes back through the episodes and finds the episode and timestamp where you talk about that app, I'll pay for everyone to go to Dune. So it's like $75.
He's got to do it before March 1st. Okay.
Yeah.
He already paid for it, but you'll reimburse him. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let him know.
It's crazy that he paid for it. That's super nice. Like I was like, I'm not taking no for an answer. I gotta give him money. But
yeah,
that's really cool of him to do that.
Hey, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He researches. He pays for Dune.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, like, look,
the top two things to make a good guy.
Let's not mix anything up here. He just wants us to see Dune.
He wants it that badly.
See, the research department has known me for a long time.
Sure.
And he knows that if he pays for me, I have to do it.
Well, he saw how deep you got into Tekken just because I got you that, where it's like, all right, well,
that will not be happening with Dune. Dude, I'm telling you, their marketing campaign turned me off to Dune. As soon as we were sitting in that theater and they told me this is the next Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and Mass Effect 2 bundled into one.
It was
like Nate was talking to me through the screen. I was like, I don't want to see this now.
Yeah. League of Legends meets Star Wars meets
yeah.
And
just for the audience, I think we've talked about this inside joke before, but my cousin is notorious for he's a good salesman.
Very much.
So he will pitch you on a show or a game and we're not doing a joke. We're obviously doing a caricature of what actually happens, but like he will subtly just drop in your favorite media.
If there is even a hint of like a same game mechanic or something like that he knows that you like of a game, that will get put in.
So like we will make, like, we're making fun of it obviously, where it's like he just says, "Oh, this is League of Legends," and
it's just everything you love.
Everything you love, but it's more subtle than that. But
yeah.
That was, dude, I'll never forget that trailer. I was like, this is not, you can't say you're the next Lord of the Rings, dude.
Like reviewers have to say that.
Freaking, come on, dude. That's a bold claim.
I will say the movie was good. And I'm not alone. Like,
I believe you.
Kyle randomly watched it. And that was enough for him. He's like, I'm going to buy the books. Like, he's like, I really enjoyed it. Like the world,
I heard
all the building.
The books are good.
I have it.
Yeah, you have all of the books though.
Yeah.
Do you have Green Eggs and Him?
That's a good question. I think we might have got it for the baby shower.
Oh,
dude,
really?
I've had like 7 segues up to this point to branch off into different conversations.
You're not taking any of them.
I don't want to leapfrog you or jump over stuff.
No, that's all good. You're kind of in a roundabout right now.
Yeah.
You're just not getting off.
I do not. So we had a baby shower last Sunday.
Yeah.
We got, people still gave us cards. So it's kind of like, I thought it was, instead of getting cards, you bring a book and just sign the book.
Yeah.
Like your favorite childhood book for us to read.
Right.
We got a lot of Dr. Seuss stuff though.
He's the GOAT. I think I said this on a previous episode, but there's this guy who's been rapping all of the Dr. Seuss books.
Yeah.
And
like
they
a dog.
are phenomenal.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal, dude. He'll just drop a beat and rap these books, and they're so funny. I think, is Mr. Brown a Dr. Seuss book? Is that the title?
I've never heard of it.
That was my favorite one. I've never heard of that one either, but he rapped that one. I was like, I think that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
And then I'll like put it on 2 times speed, and he's like Eminem. It's awesome.
It's kind of crazy. I have to do 2 times speed to get to Eminem standards, but yeah.
Eminem he's my favorite rapper of all time, like easily.
Yeah.
I'm not a big like hip hop rap guy. I don't know the difference between hip hop and rap. I probably should, but but something about him that I just vibe with. I don't know.
And a lot of his collabs I like too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, baby shower. You're
baby
getting
shower.
books.
A lot of people got sick. Sorry for whoever came to the baby shower.
Yeah, I got sick.
Yeah.
And now I know where it came from because you literally just told me like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was good seeing your parents.
Chelsea's been out of commission for a while.
I feel bad.
Here's the thing with my parents.
Okay.
I love them.
There we go.
I absolutely love them. But
when you preface something with "I love them,"
but let me tell you why.
It's coming.
So, man, I'm gonna hit a bunch of topics all at once. So
you're the timestamp guy.
I know. I'll get there.
Yourself.
I'll get there. Went to Texas State, Brazil. So Chelsea got sick.
Oh my god,
I was sick.
Really
you'll see. You'll see the circle.
Okay, love it.
Went to Texas State, Brazil.
Which is a Brazilian
steakhouse.
Okay. Remember, we're doing a podcast.
Yeah, that's true. Fair enough. Has not been great the past few times we've went.
Oh, really?
This time, yeah, like I've gone, like the last time that I actually liked it was when we went for your birthday party, like during COVID.
That was 4 years ago?
I think it's 2020, right?
No. They would not have been open 2020.
So maybe either 2019 or 2021.
2020, I went to New York for my birthday. It must have been 2021.
Okay.
So it's still in the throw, like the end of it.
Regardless, it was like, that was the last time I thought it was like good.
I was trying to...
No. That's fine.
Yeah.
But we had it. It was fine. I didn't like gorge myself. I was like, I'm going to take it. I'm just going to eat till I'm like full. And then I was done. Like, I think I hit that pretty well. Like I was actually like, proud of myself.
Yeah.
But we went there, we did all that, and there was and it was a good time. It was nice to catch up. But Chelsea was sick, so she didn't go. So I was kind of like just fifth wheeling like Miranda and Nate and Abby. But it was a good time. It was nice to see everyone. But there was a winter weather advisory. So for your birthday this year, we went out to the meadows in a blizzard.
Yep.
And it was like, oh man, this sucks. That was like the easiest drive ever compared to going home from Texas State Brazil.
Really?
It was crazy.
Oh, that's right. It was Friday.
It was crazy.
I was playing D&D Friday.
Yeah.
And we looked outside in the middle of our session. It was wild.
It was bad. Dude, I drove
They closed some of the roads.
Yeah, I drove maybe 25 miles an hour all the way home. It was really, really bad.
That reminds me of back when I was auditioning for schools in college. Yeah. I auditioned for Penn State, and we were driving up there to State College, and it was a blizzard, dude.
Yep.
And when you're in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania, I mean, we're on a highway, but like,
doesn't
I'm talking
matter.
about it's like it's like one of the it looks like hyper speed in Star Wars.
Yeah.
All the snow's coming at you.
Yep.
It's pitch black. It is the scariest shit ever.
100%.
Which is like, I was thinking about this too. It's like you take away 1 sense and something that's like mundane becomes so terrifying.
Yeah.
Like you take away sight, you take away, well, sight's probably the biggest one. Right?
Yeah, it's
although I will say
there.
You take away your hearing, that becomes scary too. Because now I wouldn't say specifically when driving, but like when you're just walking, like let's say you're in your house by yourself and you just can't hear.
Yeah.
Like horrifying, dude.
Yep.
Horrifying.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, and this is just living in a new place, all the little sounds and creaks and groans and the furnace kicking on and it sounds like a bomb's going off every time that happens.
Yeah.
Like that also gets a little terrifying. So I could go
I don't know, but my mind would just be like, dude, what if someone breaks in? I won't hear it.
That's fair.
You know? Yeah. I would rather take the minor annoyances for the I'm a big auditory guy.
Yeah.
As you know. So it's like I rely on my hearing a lot.
Sure.
So you take that away and that's not good.
That's fair.
Yeah. For me.
So we were driving home in a blizzard, or I was driving home in the blizzard, and it did feel almost like a GameStop midnight launch. Like McKnight Road was just dead. Like Mike actually called me and was like, hey, you're not driving your Elantra, right? I'm like, no. I took Chelsea's car. It was fine. But it was really bad. So my thought was, and you'll see how I connect all these. You'll be impressed. So my thought was like, oh man, it's really terrible. As soon as I pulled in, I texted my parents and I was like, hey, I'm coming over tomorrow morning. I'm going to shovel the walk because my dad's back has been out since the shower because he moved tables and wouldn't listen and just was helping too much.
Yeah.
My mom got sick, so she had a bad cold. Yeah. And I was like, neither of you should be doing this on your healthiest of days. I need to be better at like just driving over there, shoveling the walk, doing all that. So I think actually Nate drove from Texas State Brazil to his parents' house, shoveled the walk, and then they went home.
Really?
I think so.
Wow.
The only reason why I didn't do that was because it's like, well, it's still snowing. So it's like, I'm going to have to come back anyway. So it's like, yeah. So I text them that. They don't respond. Then I'm like, it's somewhat late. Maybe they're just in bed because they're both sick and hurting and stuff. But then they don't respond in the morning either. So now I go from like, oh, I don't want them shoveling stuff to like, oh crap, I'm actually worried because I don't hear back from them.
Right.
So I drive there at like probably around like 9:30. And as I'm pulling up, I see my dad in the doorway, like he has like a glass like storm door, watching my mom because like his back's like that if he's not doing it, he's like in a lot of pain. My little mother with her little knit cap on and everything taking a snowblower and like blowing the sidewalk.
Oh my God.
And like my first thought was like I was actually like angry. Because it's like you literally are like getting over a cold. Like you hear how my voice is. Like she was like 10 times worse.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, what do you do? So I park, basically force the snowblower out of her hand. And I was like, okay, go back inside, shovel their walk and do all that. But then like she comes right back out with like a salt bucket, like a little cup of salt, and like just trying to salt while I'm doing stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just like, man, what is going on? So where's I going with that? So it was like, okay, the weather. Oh yeah, I guess that was really that came full circle.
Yeah, you came back.
So
like you love your parents, but they're very stubborn.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's the long ass crux of what I wanted to say.
Well, I mean, like they're trying to be independent, which is I can respect. But yeah, I mean,
the problem is like. On their healthiest of days, they shouldn't be doing it at this point. My dad literally just turned, 78, 79?
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's pushing 80, and he's great for his age.
Yeah.
But it's like, just relax. Like, that's the whole reason to have a kid.
I'm telling you, man. The hard workers just want to work.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You can't
But pick a different, I don't know.
You can't get him off of it, dude. I'm telling you. It's like...
I know.
He's gonna try to shovel that walk forever.
My mom the whole time was just like, yeah, but you're sick too. We don't want you to be on the cold. I'm like, I'll recover faster. Like it doesn't matter. Like I'm
showing
fine.
her the research papers. Yeah.
It's
parents, man.
I
mean, hey, your parents. You have great parents.
I mean, yeah, like they're the best.
Yeah.
But that's also why I want to keep them around.
No,
like,
look, you're a great son too. That was great.
That was
a great
incorrect.
thing.
Like
I think there's a lot of people who would not do that for their parents.
Yeah, but the only reason, like in this, I hate even admitting this, but the reason why that was like it even came to mind is because I was out in the snow. Like if I was home and like not even thinking about it or whatever, like it wouldn't. Eventually, it would dawn on me.
Yeah.
But by the time it did, it'd be like.
Well, it doesn't matter. Like if you're out in the snow and you're like, "Oh, this is really bad," and your first thought is like, "I need to help my parents." That's a great.
But I need
thing.
to like check in with them more and stuff like that. And
yeah, but it's good. Like I find that like whenever some event happens like that, it's a good reset on some of your like relationships. So like
yeah,
and then and you're like, "Oh, I should be," because like I know that whenever like something happens and then my brother and I are talking, it's like, I should talk to him more. And it leads to that, right? And then, like, we've been talking more recently. So it's like, I don't know. I find sometimes in bad events can result in some positive outcomes.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah. That's a nice positive spin on it.
I try to find a silver lining.
Yeah. You're good at that.
They call me Johnny Silver Lining.
Ooh. I don't know if I like that.
No, me neither.
I like J-Bone more.
Did I tell this on the thing? I went to that singles event and then I was like Johnny Silverhand and nobody.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, you said that.
There are some things that keep me up at night, and that's been added to the rotation.
Did you do anything for Valentine's Day? Speaking of singles,
I was playing Persona 3, which is kind of
okay.
There's romance in that.
Yeah, romancing the.
I haven't gotten there yet, but we're working on it, and I got a beautiful text from Tyler.
Yeah.
Just checking in on me because I guess your natural assumption is anyone who's single on Valentine's Day must be in a depressed stupor.
And I thought about that because I didn't want it to come off that way.
Oh, it did.
And,
not that I didn't
want to continue down that line. And I don't want this to affect how you normally text either. But it was just like,
there we go.
You seemed different texting back. Like there's a certain cadence, like when we're talking and stuff. And for whatever that day or whatever, it just seemed like you were a little down. And I don't to be fair, I wasn't even thinking about like the Valentine's Day side of things. It was just like, hey man, you good? Like, that's all.
Well, I think maybe I was just preoccupied that day.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's I need to.
Well, that's the problem with text, man. Dude, I'm the same way. I mean, you've heard me like, oh man, is this person mad at me?
Yeah.
Like I get caught in that trap.
Yep.
Severe. Like you don't text me back and in like
try
5 minutes. It's like fuck.
Try having a wife that like ends every sentence with a period.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't be able to. Like, I would sit down with her and be like, "You can't do this."
And she'll probably get mad at me saying this, but like, there are times when if we're talking in a group setting, right? Like, if there's like a group thread or something, and she's talking for the both of us, I will edit her message. So she'll be like, I'll text someone and be like, okay, well, what'd you say? And she's like, tells me, and I'm like, did you use a period or an exclamation point?
Yeah,
Did you put a little smiley face there? Like, working in corporate is very much like, even if you're like angry, there is a softness to your language and stuff like that when there needs to be.
Oh yeah, that's an art form for sure.
Yeah,
I do hate the smiley face though. That can come across as very condescending.
Can be.
So I don't. I like the exclamation point, which could bite me because obviously you can interpret that as yelling, but I interpret the exclamation point in most general cases as like excitement, like hey, have a nice day, like, you know.
I go 2 exclamation marks.
Oh,
and that's
weird,
bad, and I hate it.
I don't like that.
And when people use it, I actually hate it, and then I use it.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
The first exclamation mark
need 1
is
or 3.
like pleasant.
Yeah,
and then the second exclamation mark could be considered like an urgency thing, where it's like, oh, thank you, like, so much, like, oh, you really helped me out in this situation, or something, so you get like 2. That. Yeah,
I don't like that.
Yeah,
I need 3. I don't know why. It's balanced.
Here's a question. If you say thank you, if someone says thank you to you, and you want to say, well, thank you, because they actually did you the favor, how do you put that? Do you do you italicize you, or do you put like YOU in all caps?
No, I don't even go down the thank you route. I'm a appreciate kind of guy,
like a Ted Lasso.
So I will respond back with, I really appreciate everything you did for us.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't even try to. I'm not skilled enough to navigate that minefield of the thank you response. That's a pro move. I stick with the intermediate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like Tekken if you think about it, right? Like, yeah, am I leaving some damage on the table by not doing my optimized combo?
Sure.
Yeah. But you have to consider, this is a beautiful analogy, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just blowing smoke. You have to consider, what is the percent of execution?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I will take a 90% execution rate on a suboptimal combo that gets me 50 damage versus a 30% optimal combo that'll get me like 75 damage, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm losing out 25 damage, but that execution rate's like huge.
Yeah,
because in the long run, you got to think of like the long run of your career.
Yeah.
Like in that game, yeah, you're missing damage, but how much damage are you actually losing over the long run?
Sure.
I'm a genius.
That can be applied to so many things.
I love applying video games to life. Like the research department and I have this horrific habit of
putting everything in the league.
Everything in the league. Yeah. Describing everything, and we do a pretty good job.
Sure.
It's hilarious.
It's the language, man. It's getting to someone's level and explaining it how they would understand it. There's a guy at work that is amazing with analogies.
Oh yeah.
Like very, very fun. Usually they're very sarcastic. He'll come up with these things that I literally laugh out loud.
I think the hardest I've ever made you laugh was that video I sent you about Skeeter, or whatever his name is. From Phantom Menace. Anakin's little buddy.
He said Skeeter?
Yeah, what was his name? It's something with an S, right? Scooter?
It's not Skeeter.
It's close, though.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you should know this. You should know that, dude.
I saved the sticker.
You were the only person who would ever truly appreciate that song.
I saved the sticker, too. I'll think about it.
But you were telling me you were, like, crying.
It was really... You hit me in the right...
Perfect
moment.
Timing.
Yeah. I was just laying in bed watching this video, and it was pretty good.
I always bring this up, but when you texted me, I'm just sitting there one night, like on my computer or something, and I just get this picture from Tyler, and it's just a picture of the first scene of Freddy Got Fingered. I laughed for a good 10, 15 minutes straight, just dying, dude. Because like that's level 1 of Dante's Inferno.
Yeah,
you were entering the belly of the beast, and I.
What was the 9th ring, or how many rings are in Dante's Inferno?
I would say the meat organ is the 9th ring.
I would say swinging the baby around by the umbilical cord is that's what did it for me. Where I was like, this is too much.
That was bad.
Yeah.
That movie needs to be banned from society. Oh my god. Oh man. Well, we do have topics.
Yeah,
today.
we got a lot going on.
So, you hit some of them. The baby shower is good.
Yeah, just to kind of wrap that up too. Quick venting thing.
Furniture.
Furniture, baby furniture. Got a lot of awesome gifts from everyone, which we were super grateful for. Working through writing all the thank you notes and all that jazz. Putting furniture together. Did the dresser. Did the crib. But these, I feel like it's a meme. Like people are actively trying to make furniture hard to put together, like just to like screw with people. Right?
Really?
Like a lot of stuff is mislabeled. So like I had a part and I was like, they fan all the parts out. And they're like, here's all the parts that we gave you. And they give you like one diagram. It's just an exploded view of all the parts with just arrows of like, put this here, 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 and all the little letters. And I'm putting this thing together and it's like, oh, grab part F and put it here. And the part G and put it here. I'm like, F does not look like this. And it's clearly labeled on the part, like with a sticker that says F. But all the stickers are handwritten, right? Built in China, whatever. But then I'm starting to realize that like the parts are mislabeled. So I had to like ignore the part letters. I started realizing that like some of the screws were both labeled. So like there was like a double E here, but then there's another part that was a double E and they were completely different parts and stuff. So it was like actively trying, like I was like trying to be super calm. I'm like, I typically get upset building things. So I'm just gonna be real chill about it. But I got everything together, especially on the dresser. And it's all these little arrows and stuff. Then I realize, really when everything's done, that those arrows are actually the letter V.
Oh no!
So the V corresponds to like these little metal pins that go into things like for sturdiness and like for support.
Yeah.
And I'm like, son of. So I had to like, I think this was actually for the crib, not the dresser, but I had to like tear it apart. And then put all these little metal pins and then reassemble everything again. It was just like, man.
You know what they should do? This is a great idea.
Yeah.
They should give you the instructions, but then there should be a QR code, and they should just have an instructional video.
So it's funny you bring that up.
Yeah.
When you pick up the instruction book, it literally says, scan this QR code and watch a video of the person doing it.
I'm a genius.
I scan the QR code. It takes you to a website where it's like, put in your model number. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Put in the model number.
Yep.
No video for the instruction stuff. Instead, the video is, it's a 5-minute video.
Yep.
Here's the 6-7 reasons on why our crib's better than the competition.
Oh.
I was so
I
mad.
would just go to our YouTube page and then there's the video.
Yeah. I should have, but anyway, they're up. They look good. They're sturdy as heck. But which brings me, I sent you a thing saying if I'm Flubal, like, you know how you were like, I want to put prices on the...
My first decree is all alcoholic beverages must have the dollar amount.
Yeah.
Yep.
My first decree is all glitter is forever banned, destroyed.
Oh, that's a great decree.
Your glitter is, if you use glitter, you're put to death.
Death penalty, yep. Buy glitter.
By glitter.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to throw you in a vat of glitter and you suffocate by glitter.
And you have to
You
survive.
breathe it in and it tears your insides up.
Well, okay, so I'm a very sadistic Flubal.
Yeah.
So I would make it an event. It would be an arena, and we would throw them to a giant tub of glitter, and there's like a tiny key that they can sift through
to find it,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then we close the top, and they have, until they suffocate or find the key and get out. Like, you have a chance. I always like giving people a chance.
No. Not when it comes to glitter.
No, yeah, glitter's tough, but it'll be a really small key. Yeah. Don't worry. Like, the success rate will be like 0.1.
The only thing that even comes close to glitter is foam, packing foam. Like, if you pack your stuff in, like, if a company packs their thing with soft foam, awesome. That's the best pack job you could possibly do.
Yeah.
But for all these, like, Amazon BS things and all these things that I'm opening up in just tiny little specks of white foam just fly everywhere because it's all crushed because it's hard.
Yeah.
That is, like, one rung down from glitter.
Yeah.
But
not as bad as glitter.
Glitter is the worst.
Well, here's the beauty of the thing where they escape the glitter tank is that they will forever have at least one piece of glitter on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of like a curse, It's kind of like the scarlet letter.
Yeah, and like no one will want, and like, because if you touch, like, if you go anywhere, you track the glitter.
Yeah.
And like no one will
and then you get arrested
It's
again.
like leprosy. Yeah.
It's like leprosy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you just have glitter
nobody will let you
colonies.
into their store because there'll be
Yep.
glitter associated.
Yeah. And I would have a dedicated police force,
Glitter
like
squad.
a glitter force. Yeah.
That has glitter all over their uniform. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man.
Glitter is that makes me like visibly angry as well. I hate glitter.
Yep.
Gets everywhere. Like how Anakin feels about sand is how I feel about glitter.
Glitter is so much worse than sand.
I understand that, but his passion for the hatred of sand is my same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay. Well, that was my.
Are you sure it's not Skeeter? I think it is.
It's not Skeeter. I'll get
Who's
it.
Anakin's little friend? Type that into Google and see what comes up.
Yeah. Kitster.
Yeah. That's close.
Yeah, it's her. Yeah.
Skeeter.
Yeah. No, Skeeter's it's like from Skeeter.
That's from something.
Yeah, it's like is it Boy Meets World? I don't know.
I never saw Boy Meets World.
Yeah. Skeeter. I don't know.
Anyways, we used to have a research department for those kinds of things.
Maybe that 70s show?
Oh, good call. Maybe.
I don't know. But it's one of those.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah. Anyways,
Flubal rules. For anyone who doesn't know what a
we should
Flubal-
keep a running tally, but go on. Yeah, explain.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know what Flubal is, it's a made-up word that Tyler and I have created that indicates essentially just the king of the world.
Yeah.
Where you have absolute and complete, utter control of everything that happens.
Just whatever you say goes.
Yeah.
Dictator of the world, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to keep a running tally of just like here
Here
are
are Flubal
laws,
rules.
our decrees.
Yeah. I've had some good ones and I forget all of them, except for the alcohol one, because that just pisses me off every time.
Yeah.
Because you get the compounding effect of like, okay, there's no price on it. So you're like, okay, well, I'll order this. Turns out it's a $15 drink.
Yeah.
And then you're also consuming alcohol. So your judgment goes down throughout the night. So the compound effect of not being able to see the price plus your judgment's lower.
But see, this proves that you would
like
be like a gracious
ridiculous.
and benevolent dictator because obviously as Flubal, you wouldn't even be paying for alcohol. You would say, I want alcohol, and they just give it to you.
No, I would have a salary.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, what's the point of that? I thought as Flubal, you just control all wealth, all everything.
I do, and my salary is immense.
Yeah.
But
So what I'm saying is
I will have
you're
salary.
putting these laws in for the common man.
yeah.
That's good. That's not very selfish.
I want to be
of you.
viewed as a common man, even though I'm clearly not. You know?
Like every billionaire.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just one of you guys.
Yeah, exactly. But
I'll
I would
see you in outer space whenever you get there.
I would try a little harder,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know, dude. I'm telling you, as Flubal, I would still go to Sheetz and get a $1 hot dog.
Would you go to Sheetz to get a $1 hot dog, or would you just have a Sheetz built in your backyard?
I would go to Sheetz.
Yeah.
I want to be seen amongst the people.
So you would live here if you were ruler of the world
in Pennsylvania?
Yeah. Or wherever Sheetz is.
No, I
You know
would
what
have
mean?
I would have a headquarters in every conceivable location.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get that teleporter tech built.
Yeah, we would be working hard on the teleportation tech.
Yeah.
No, I think we would probably what would we be trying to work hard on? I think space exploration is important. We would still continue that. And then healthcare. I still want to like try to get rid of disease and stuff like that. Also, I think like I don't know, it's tough. See, here's the problem is like everyone who becomes or everyone who's anyone is like, oh, dude, if I was in charge of everything, like there would be no starvation and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, like we're all terrible.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, it's going to be some utopia. The world's probably worse off if I'm Flubal. The world's definitely worse off if
Maybe
I'm Flubal.
long term, sure.
No, like 100%. Like, I'm a selfish, disgusting person, just like the rest of us. I'm going to be like abusing my power and like I'm going to have a harem. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
wow. Okay. Sure.
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Sure.
You're ruler of the world? I'll tell you this. There's going to be a beauty pageant show and then the winner's like my wife or something. Like that's how disgusting people are.
It's like it's heard.
You don't think people would do that if they were ruler of the world?
Yes.
I'm just being honest about it.
Sure. Yeah.
This is why I'm glad I'm not the ruler of the world. I want it to be clear.
You can't be honest up front, though.
I will say this:
to get to be ruler of the world, then you can kind of,
if it helps,
take the mask off.
The women have a choice; they can say no. I don't think they would, but they could say no.
That was the most threatening.
No, I can. Dude, I'm telling you this, dude. Like, girls who are not interested in me, it's like I can't do it. You know what I mean? Where it's like some. I'm on thin ice right here. So let me
buddy, I'm like grinding my teeth. Don't make me
immense.
edit so much stuff. Okay,
yeah,
continue.
no, you might want
to.
Go ahead. Anyway, so some guys, it's like, oh, the girl's not super interested, and that's like a challenge for them. And they're like, okay, well, I'm going to prove myself, right? For me, it has the exact opposite of that. Like if a girl's not interested in me, it's like, oh, like this is like, there's no sense or part of me that is like, I want to try here. I would rather someone who actually likes me.
Sure. Yeah.
Than not. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And not too bad, right?
Not too bad.
Okay. You were worried there. I was worried.
I don't know why my head went to this. Chelsea and I are watching Love is Blind. Do you know what that show is?
Yeah.
Yeah. For people who don't know what Love is Blind is you have a group of guys, group of girls. They go into these rooms and just kind of rotate through each other. And just like kind of like talk and
that didn't sound
well.
Clean, but yeah.
They talk, but there's a partition up, and you can't actually see what the other one looks like.
Right.
So you're supposed to get to know them on a more intimate, kind of deeper level. But the whole point is you have 10 days to match with someone on a deep level, have these conversations, quote unquote, date them, and then ask them to marry you.
Oh, the show is fucking bonkers.
But when we're looking at this, there's apparently this whole thing where people are commenting how badly Gen Z is aging, where most of the people on the show are like 27, 20, and like early 30s, late 20s.
Yeah.
And they're saying like they look like they're 40. Like these people look like they're so old.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty funny.
What made you think of that?
You were just talking about like women in pursuits and different things like that. And it just brought me to like, we're seeing all those people like try to like, oh, I really want to get with this person and then everyone's pursuing each other.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, the pursuit has been since the beginning of time, Tyler.
Yeah, I know.
That's how the human race continues.
Yeah. 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 All right.
You've added to that. Congratulations. I was actually thinking about this last night. I was like, you ever like, you're up at like 3 a.m. and you think you're having these deep thoughts and conversations with yourself.
Okay.
And it's probably just random, stupid soup thoughts.
Soup thoughts?
Yeah, soup thoughts is like just a soup of like these random thoughts.
Okay.
Call them soup thoughts.
Sure.
You know, soup,
TM.
there's a lot of ingredients in there.
Like a melting pot.
Yeah.
Salad.
But I think of it more as a soup.
Okay.
I think it's a little more liquid.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I was like thinking about this and I'm like, man, like, do you think that only a significantly small percentage of humans actually make an impact on society? So I was like trying to dissect that. I'm like, okay, well, like, you know, such a few number of people actually make like inventions that actually advance like how we live and things like that. But if you think about it in another sense, it's like, well, step one in humanity is survival, right?
Right.
Like biology dictates that. We dictate that. Like, you know, shelters, like they always tell you in like survival situations, like shelter and temperature first and then water. And then like there's like a hierarchy. So it's like, okay, well, so I guess if you're having a kid, you're making a big contribution to humanity because you are continuing. You have prolonged,
yes,
theoretically, humanity in a sense there.
Here's the thing. I would take it a step further. Is I would say everyone is extremely important. Everyone being like most people. Okay. I'm not saying every single person.
Okay.
Most people would be extremely important because while there are certain people that like make the news or hit that big invention or score the winning touchdown at the Super Bowl or whatever. It's everyone else around them too that also makes it possible. If you want to get dark, it would be like, oh, hey, every person that ever passed them on a highway that didn't just say, I'm just going to swerve and not obey traffic laws and like crash into these people or whatever, could technically have been like a course altering thing. You look very confused.
No, so you're saying that the fact that you can't only look at the positive scale of the aspects of what you're contributing, but to not contribute negative events in and of itself is a positive contribution to society.
Yeah, like I feel like everyone impacts society in certain ways. Yes, you have kind of the person that maybe is like the end of the funnel, like the one that like cures cancer, right?
Yeah.
But that person started out as a baby. So it's like the doctors, the nurses, the traffic, the like every other thing leading up to it, the nurturing, the parents, or the, even if you contributed negatively, maybe that spurred them to do something else, or, like it could get really dark in that sense. But everything that happened up to that point was, hundreds of thousands of people in some way, or thousands of people, depending on, whatever. But like it influenced them, it shaped them, it put them in a certain place. Now, could you strip certain things back and say, oh, well, this event would have happened even if you took out this? Sure. But generally speaking, my thought would be everything that happened, kind of like butterfly effect-ish stuff, got somebody to the point where, oh, cancer's gone now.
Interesting. No, that's definitely one way to interpret it.
That's not normally how I am, right? Like, it's not
that
like the
is
cup
weird.
half full.
We're usually on the opposite side of this because, like, the thought I was having is like, well, like, what... I often think about my life's purpose, things like that. I'm a very destiny-focused individual.
Yeah,
where
which
it's
is
like,
not bad.
I feel like everyone... And I think a lot of people disagree with me on this. Like, I think everyone was put on this earth for a purpose.
Uh-huh.
Or at least some sort of goal, right? Or something.
Right. Yeah.
And I often think about, like, well, what am I doing? And, like, am I really fulfilling what I'm supposed to be doing, I guess, quote unquote. And, like, I often think, like, well, like my occupation, for example, I'm not influencing society really at all. Like, I mean, I guess there's kind of small ways I was doing it. Like, honestly, in my old position, like when I was like in customer service, like it was much easier to see that end result where I'm like literally talking to old people on Medicare and helping them.
Yeah.
So that was like, okay, I'm actually positively helping people. But like now where I'm more of like data and analytics behind the scenes, you can do some mental gymnastics to say I'm helping the consumer at that point, but it's like they don't really need me. And I don't know. It's easy to fall into this line of thinking when you work for a very large corporation, you're just like a single person, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well then outside of that, is there any positive impacts? Like, I have friends and things like that we have a good time, but it's like, are we really doing anything to benefit humanity, or are we just fucking around?
Well, I mean, the thing too is like if you're looking at it from, are you the main character, right? So like that,
no.
like as you get older too.
The main character of humanity?
Well, no, not of humanity, but like
I'm the main character of my own life because that is the point of view in which I must be present in.
Absolutely, but if you're looking at it from, oh, I have to change something, might not be the best way of looking at it versus something.
I wouldn't say I don't have to change something, but I should be adding something.
Right, but if like how would you measure that, right? So like if you're
talking
like
that's the problem.
I have to add something.
Yeah.
There are a couple ways of doing it. It could be, oh, I have to add something and like people know that you added it, or you have to add something just by being a decent human being, which then again like that butterfly effect of paying it forward, or you help someone here and then they help somebody and then eventually it like you would not be able to fathom kind of how far those ripples go.
Right.
I'm not saying that's every decision you make, but there are certain things that it's like, oh, that really resonated with so and so, and then they went on to do great things or other stuff too. So I don't know. I think you could be great in your own right. It's just like not getting the recognition. You have to be okay with that too. Or I shouldn't even say that. I should say not understanding the full impact. You have to be okay with. As long as you're a decent human being, I feel like being good enough with that and being content with that that's the challenge versus necessarily changing the world. Because I think if everyone did that, then you would change the world. So if you lead by example, if you become more of a, I don't want to say a Jesus figure, but like, you know, I don't want to make your head too big, but if you're just being decent and being good and just showing everyone, it's the same thing. Like you have a kid, you instill those things, or you show them, here's how you act in certain situations. That's the change. Like, I don't think you need to be like, oh, I saved this person, from dying because of doing these number charts or whatever, or something like that.
Yeah. Well, that's the tough part, right? Like, it's like, I guess for me specifically, it's hard to see those benefits without like a tangible result.
Yeah.
I think most people are
it's
like
tough.
that. Yeah. But I think it makes sense. So you have to kind of trust the process.
Or trust that there is a process.
Well, it's a whole...
And it's not all just random and doesn't matter. Yeah.
I was thinking about this too. Like, not to get like super philosophical and stuff, but...
This was not on our list. Okay.
Like... So I was thinking about like the natural state of things, like just nature in general, right? And nature's like pretty brutal. And it's like
survival
life
of the
and
fittest.
death. Right, exactly. And nature's not fair, right? Like nature is completely unfair.
It's very circumstantial and just right place, right time. That's
like if you're this small, baby in the pack, like you're not going to live. Like the runt, sure. So it's like, and that's not fair because you didn't do anything wrong. You were just born.
Right.
So like, I guess my thought here is like, is nature moral? Like, is that moral? Is that morally correct? Because like, if you look at how our society is structured, we generally help people less fortunate.
Yeah.
Right. So people who are down on their luck, or in negative circumstances, there's charity, there's welfare, there's things integrated in society to help people. Also, you see with like babies in particular, if they're premature, there are things like we try to save babies. We obviously that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But in nature, that doesn't exist.
Well, I think morality is more of just a constructed thing. Now, depending, like, obviously, religion plays a part of that, and you could say,
well, that's what I'm saying. So if you're religious,
yeah,
and you're under the assumption that God created nature, clearly, why? I mean, there's a like, there's not morality to that, right?
Well,
it's kind of detached from.
The quick answer is we're not animals. Right. Like we are, like when you're talking scientifically or whatever, and it's like, we're Homo sapiens, whatever.
Yeah.
If you're going down the religion aspect of it, then we are creating God's image. We are above the animals. Like we are on a different level with a different set of rules, a different set of responsibilities, a different set of, morality. So to compare us with the base instincts of nature and things like that, I think is where like you're going to start butting heads. Now, if you believe, okay, Big Bang evolution, this is all just random whatever, and we're here and we're better than animals just due to the fact that we lucked out the way that we evolved.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it starts to get a little bit different, where you're 100% right. But again, I would argue like we have a conscience. We have like we can communicate. We can think outside. Like we're building like we're so far advanced that there is still like this kind of self-inflicted morality or self-inflicted like what is right.
But it's interesting because we're so far advanced and obviously have higher levels of thinking than any animal.
Yeah,
of course. But we're still driven by instincts. and those kinds of like natural evolutionary.
Well, again,
drives.
if you believe in evolution and stuff, otherwise it would be more.
I assume we both do, right?
Eh.
You don't think evolution's a thing?
I think there. My quick answer is I don't know.
Okay.
Right? I believe in evolution, but not that it's like, hey, here's a big bang, we're all specks of dust or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's like an accelerated, like, oh, that's evolution, but like creator designed, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, if he spoke something into being, and we that's a whole other conversation I know Justin actually wants to get in on. So
yeah,
we can go back to that. But I think with my thing is like evolution from like an animal sense, where it's like, oh, over the course of time, the platypus lost its beak and went flat for whatever.
it's the bill.
No, it lost its beak and got a bill, or I don't know, like whatever, like
Gotcha.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
I could see the arguments being made there, and again, survival of the fittest. So if you an animal in a climate and the climate changes, only certain types of animals will survive while others die out and different things like that. Like I could see how that goes, but to go from like, oh, we were all apes once and then we grew into humans.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you believe in like creation, that doesn't jive with that. I feel like you're kind of at odds with each other.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that in my belief structure, like I think there's a God, but we've talked about this as well. Like, what form does that constitute as? Because I'm not convinced that the Bible is like verbatim, like this is what happened, like to the T. I'm not sure of that. Now, is it possible that is because like whenever you're talking about like, okay, God told me this and now I'm writing it down.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, in my small, feeble brain, it's like to me, something has to be lost in translation there. Like there's just no way that you can truly interpret the word of something that created everything, right? So
or the fact that people would be like, oh, God came to me, told me to write this, I wrote this.
Right.
But then people that are responsible for like saying, oh, this is the actual Bible.
Yeah.
There's so much human fault.
To me, it's like, okay, well, how do we generally understand complex thought or emotion or philosophy? And it's like, well, generally, in my opinion, it's through art.
Yeah.
So you can express this through paintings or music, but generally, and for the longest time, we've expressed it through storytelling, through parables. And to me, I think the Bible, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
And so in particular with this creation story, I don't know if it's necessarily, okay, like it was literally made in 7 days and this and that and the Garden of Eden and everything, or is this just kind of like a metaphor or parable for like what happened, I guess.
Sure.
For like the fall of man and why we're inherently evil and need saved and you know what I mean? So
I mean that's also that's kind of what I was getting at, where it's like you can kind of jerry rig it to be like both, where it's like, oh, okay, these trees some are like just millions of rings as trees grow, and like there are just millions of rings in them or something.
Yeah.
So if it was like done in a day, like if God is omnipotent and can, fast forward time or do whatever,
right,
then yes, it could technically be like, oh, I did all the nature in a day. But it could be like, oh, all of these it was a million years condensed into like a day. And he like snaps his fingers and it's just there. So like you can't comprehend some of that kind of stuff, but that's also kind of I don't want to call it an easy out, but that's an easy out of saying like, well, sure, I believe in evolution, but I believe that it was like God that did it. Not that I'm saying
that's where I tend to fall, where it's like, look, to me, it's like whatever God is, and God could be a lot of things like we talked about, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just impossible to comprehend something that
right
on that scale. To me, I kind of view it as a domino effect, where he hits that first domino and then things go into effect or whatever, right?
Sure.
Which some people would claim is the Big Bang. Like, I don't have an understanding of like what any of that shit is, to be honest.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, like that's how I think he set things into motion and then lets momentum carry the rest.
Yeah.
Is how I think of it. Because like if you think about it, it's like, okay, well, Garden of Eden in the middle of the earth. And then you have this rest of this universe that's just sitting there. Like, that is so strange to me.
Yeah.
And again, I'm just some guy who wants to be Flubal. And it's like, so, take what I say with a grain of salt or less. But it just, it doesn't make sense to me. I wouldn't have done it that way.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
That's why I'm not in charge.
Yeah, yeah. But exactly.
But like, why? Like, there does not logically seem any reason.
Well, that's
for it
how
to be structured
low
that way.
intelligence we are. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess.
As far as...
But I do have this
I should
theory.
say, like, low wisdom, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I do have this like ongoing theory now where I think we're at the very beginning stages of time. Still, even after millions of years.
Yeah.
If you subscribe to that theory of Earth. Like, the Earth has been here millions of years.
Was it like 13 billion or something like that?
Or a billion, whatever. Yeah. Well, some people think it's like only a couple thousand, and I disagree with them.
Sure.
Let's say. But, which is a long time.
Yeah.
But I think in the grand scale of things, that's like, this is just beginning. And then like, we might be the only ones in the universe, but eventually the universe will be full. Because we will, like, this is the starting point. Like, we spawned in on Earth.
But
just
we're gonna
like
start
moving out.
Started as like a cell.
Yeah.
And evolved.
Yeah.
Earth is a cell that will then eventually.
So there could be aliens, and in all likelihood, there probably are, I guess, if you're just doing the math of it.
And what your definition of alien is, sure.
Right. Well, a sentient.
You're talking
form.
like intelligent. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's also possible that there was only one.
Sure.
But then there's all this space out there, and eventually we'll, kind of like a Starfield situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Minus the
and...
time travel.
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe time travel eventually. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry. I know
How did we get on this?
Well, I was up late last night thinking about contributions to society. And then my second thought was, is nature moral?
I think ultimately nature is very black and white. That's
right.
All. It's just
but is that moral? Does that fall within
I don't think you can have morality in nature. I think morality is a human construct. Because everyone has different morals, so that you can't do it that way.
That's tough. All right, anyways, we should move on.
Yeah,
before my brain breaks.
Did you watch the Xbox stuff with Phil
No, I
Spencer
heard
and
about
stuff
it,
like that?
but
So there were a lot of rumors going on, and this will be quick, but there are a lot of rumors about how like Xbox, everything is going to multi-platform. They're getting out of the console business. They just want to be just essentially the Netflix of gaming. The short, because it was like a 20-minute podcast, and they said literally nothing. So they came on so and they were like, "Hey, they were like, what they did?" But they were like, 4 games are coming to multi-platform, meaning like PlayStation and Switch and stuff. They're like, "Cool, what games?" And they're like, "We're not going to tell you yet. We're going to let the developers tell you." And I thought it was a joke at first.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What are you even having this conversation for then?"
Yeah.
So then the interviewer was like, "Okay, well, is it Starfield or Indiana Jones?" And he's like, "It is not either of those." So it's like, okay, so what? Sea of Thieves, Halo, maybe Gears of War, like just old crap or whatever. So anyway, that's coming. They said that everything that they do is for the health of Xbox first and foremost. Cool. Like that says literally nothing.
Yeah.
They did mention that they had 34 million Game Pass members, which I actually thought was kind of low because they keep talking about like, oh, hundreds of millions of people are doing this, or there's so many people playing games and different things like that.
34 mil. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's $340 million a month.
They need
minimum.
to have, but they need to have more, I think, to make it like viable if what I was reading was true.
Oh, really? Okay.
But they said the cross-play, cross-save, like they're really into this idea of play anywhere you want with whoever you want, and it just works.
340 million a month is not enough?
What do you mean? Oh, yeah, I mean...
34 mil times 10?
Times 10.
Month?
Yeah. Technically more. But yeah.
Technically more because that's minimum, but let's just say that.
Yeah.
Times 12.
It's a lot of money, but think about how much money they would have to spend to they just spent 70 billion. So yeah, it's 300 million is a lot until you put that over how many years and stuff.
Yeah, that's a lot of freaking money.
One of the notes I had was Phil Spencer says business in a weird way. He says like almost like business.
Business.
Yeah, it's a weird way.
He probably says it that way so he can spell it correctly.
Maybe I say it in my head that way, but I still say business.
Yeah,
anyway.
like I say Wednesday. In my head.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
But they were saying like, look, developers can kind of do whatever they want as far as like how they put it on the system. So they obviously pointed to Power World, which had like 2 million concurrent people or whatever playing and stuff. Where it's like, we have subscriptions like League of Legends and different things like that, and like free trial things and all. So they were like, we're very flexible with developers. We want developers to do it. And developers at the end of the day just want as many people to play their game as possible. And that's what we're advocating for.
Yeah.
That all sounds really good on paper, of course.
Yep.
PlayStation is outselling them. So it's like, it's easy to say like, we just want to be, we just want to be like friends and family and everyone like kumbaya when you're not top dog.
For sure.
Which we've said plenty of times. But
this
is just a really weird interview. They asked about game preservation, and they basically just danced around that topic where it's like, we have backwards compatibility. It's really important to us and stuff, which they've done, I would say, significantly more than Sony did. But then he just pointed to like Windows. He's like, and on Windows, like he never said emulation, at least not to what I was listening. But that's basically what he meant. It's like, and people will save stuff. Like it was just kind of It was such a weird.
I would rather pay money to play like my classic games legitimately than
like what Nintendo does.
Yeah, but like PlayStation like kind of did it with their PlayStation Plus, but you have to get like the ultimate.
And that's the same with
tier.
Nintendo. Yeah, you have to pay the $60.
And they don't have everything on there.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is bullshit.
Xbox at least for a while. So like, it was hardware related. They put the hardware in there. It works. Right. That was the same with PlayStation. Now it's like, we take the popular games, put it on there, XYZ, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And the problem, especially with Nintendo, is like their stuff is, here, play Super Mario World. But it's an emulated version that they're making you pay for. Yeah. Where it's like, okay, right. It's not exact. It's not the old school thing or whatever. But that was really it. So basically, they're staying in the console game. They're going to announce not a brand new system at the end of the year, but they're going to do a new, which I think they already leaked during the court stuff with Blizzard. Yeah. So it's going to be like an all digital streaming one. That's coming in Christmas or like holiday. And then that kind of coincides with the fact that PlayStation 5 did not hit sales that they wanted, or it wasn't as successful as they wanted. And they said it's on the back half of its life. So I'm interested to see kind of like
what? PS5?
Sony put that out there, or like the head of, I don't know if it's the head of Sony or head of PlayStation, but they
can
said
we
that
just
in an interview.
Agree to switch everything to PC?
I mean, that's where it's coming from. Look at
like, isn't that where it's headed?
Well, it's a perfect transition, right? So Sony put out Helldivers 2 on PlayStation 5 and PC.
Yes.
And PC, it's the highest concurrent. Like it's just like, it's 34 or 340,000 people or whatever trying to get on and play it.
Yeah.
Just on PC, where like servers are just destroyed by it. So like clearly, it's very well received, profitable.
Yeah, right.
And part of that is like, hey, it's a fun ass game. Like that's good. But the fact that, it was the first one that was like, okay, it came out day and date. So it came out on both platforms at the same time. That's big for a first party developed title.
Right.
So Sony seeing that success is like, okay, well, like, is that a go forward? Like, does that make sense? And Microsoft's already doing that with Game Pass. Like, they take it a step further where it's like, hey, all our first party stuff is on Xbox and PC day one for $10 a month.
Right.
So it's just like, how do you compete there? But yeah, I agree. Like for PC, that would make sense. The only downside with that is so many PC games just launch busted.
Yeah, but don't you think that like if it was just we have to make this for PC, that would improve? They would have to. Because you know that it's like an afterthought. Like they're like, okay, we have designed this game for our console, which makes sense. And then we have to port it to PC. But if we design it for the computer, you know,
you have to do both.
It would have to be better. I would imagine.
You would hope.
I would hope. Again, coming from someone who knows nothing about how to make a game.
Sure.
I would wager a lot of money that would improve.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so Helldivers. You've been playing Helldivers 2, second one.
Yeah.
And now I know initially it was a little shaky. You were having some issues with it.
Yeah, they patched a ton of stuff. So the PC was definitely shaky. You would play it. I kept crashing the desktop. One of the workarounds was like, run it in Windows 8 mode. It's like, cool, let me knock back 3 years or 3
upgrades
versions or whatever. Yeah. We finally got in. It was good. I will say that music, like I would love for you to listen to music because it's very like inspirational, like Starship
what
Troopers, like kind of like orchestral, like think if you're listening to like this really like Uncle Sam, I Want You military like inspiration, like it's just playing in a hotel lobby and suddenly you like are shaving your head and you're like signing up.
Okay.
It's kind of cool. The videos, like the cutscenes, and when I say scenes, like really just the one intro cutscene is like way better than it has any right to be. Like graphically, it looks really, really good.
Yeah.
It's really funny. They don't take itself seriously. You were talking about spilling the tea for the thing. So now what they're saying, like you'll be like taking a machine gun, and you'll be like shooting bugs, and after like a certain amount, if you just keep your finger on the trigger, it'll be like, how about a nice big cup of liberty, and just like that kind of stuff. And
just the one-liners.
Yeah, like I'm doing this for democracy, as you're calling in like a nuke coming down and just blow things up.
Right.
It's really fun. I think I am spoiled because it was Kyle, Zach, and I, and then Chase actually got it last night and started playing. The game doesn't scale to your, like if you play solo on easy, you could probably do it, but like if you go medium, like it's not like you can have like, this is what single player medium looks like. It's just you're gonna get stomped, right? Like if that makes sense. So like the difficulty is meant for like you should be queuing up with 4 people.
Yep. Gotcha.
I don't know how I like that. Like it's fine because we have the people playing it.
Does it have recommendations? So like easy, it's like, hey, if you're playing by yourself.
I think the recommendation is just always play with 4 people.
Well,
right.
But
that's what
not
I mean.
everybody has that luxury.
Exactly, but they don't say like, this is intended for for really good people.
That's what I would. Yeah. That's what I would do. Like, normal is recommended for 4 players, or easy is if you're playing solo.
Medium got tough after a while, you know, like depending on what you're trying to do. But the whole premise is like you pick a planet, you drop onto it, and you'll have a couple objectives that you have to hit to then extract.
Right.
But there's also a few objectives that are just like around the world, randomly generated. You go, you do it, you get extra XP and resources and different things like that. And it's this kind of give and take time limit thing, very much like Risk of Rain, where you have a countdown on how long like your orbital ship is going to stay in the atmosphere as you're going through this. So you have to clear your objectives and get to extract before that timer runs down. If that timer runs down, you can still extract, but a lot of what this game is as you're running and gunning and shooting and, just killing bugs and robots and stuff, you're calling in like, missile strikes, or you're calling in guns to like come and like refill you and supply drops and stuff. So if your orbital ship leaves, you lose all of that ability. So then it's just, you have your gun and whatever ammo you find laying around in like abandoned bases and stuff like that. It's a really cool system. And it kind of makes you think about like, okay, this mission, we're going to be clearing like eggs, right? Like alien eggs. You go to like this hive and you have to like pop a bunch of egg sacs or whatever. It's kind of gross.
That is kind of gross.
But
how come when you said that I could hear the sound effect?
Yeah, because it's the same. It's exactly what you would expect on any other like horror game, right?
Yeah.
But
like
as
Dead
you're
Space.
exactly, but as you're doing that, it's like, okay, knowing that I'm going in there, I'm going to bring in like my orbital barrage that I could throw it and it would like take a bunch of them at once.
Yeah.
Or if like one of your missions is like, oh, there's a charger, which is like this really big like armored bug thing that you can't hit head on, right? Okay, I'm going to drop in and I will have like a rocket launcher that I can call down. So I'll get a rocket launcher. If you shoot it, it like blows its armor off and then it creates weak points for people and stuff.
Yeah, right.
And on the surface, it's like, okay, you kill a bunch of bugs. It's like a horde mode. Do your little thing, and then you leave. But as you get to harder difficulties, as you're starting to coordinate with people, it does get kind of challenging and more fun in that regard, because it's like, well, to really get all the XP or to really get the medals, which then levels up your progression and different things like that, you have to stay in the area longer. So you want to make sure that, okay, well, I'll be the heavy guy. I'll make sure that like bugs are going to be like, I'll take their armor out. And then you could be like, okay, cool. Then I'll have like a sniper rifle. So I'll be hitting all the weak points. And then, like Zach could be in there with like a heavy machine gun or something that's just mowing people down. You can call in turrets, you can call in flamethrowers, shotgun. Like there's a lot of stuff that eventually opens up to you. Different planets have different like, oh, this planet's like super cold, so it'll affect how you move, or super hot, or different things like that. There's a cool dive mechanic. So like if you're running and like they're swiping at you, you can like dive on your back and like start firing and stuff. It gets you out of sticky situations sometimes, but it just looks cool. So I don't know. Like I think you said it was like an 82 on Open Critic. Excuse me. I would give it around that. Like I think it's if we're like making it really kind of like dumbed down, it's just like it's an 8 out of 10. It's a fun B game that is just good. And I think the more that you play, the more depth there is that you're like, oh, that's actually really interesting. I didn't know you could do that and stuff. And a lot of the stuff the game doesn't tell you. You just have to kind of figure it out for yourself. But generally speaking, I was having a lot of fun playing it. And it is challenging. Like the more we played it, the more I'm like, dude, Nate would love this game. Just from like a pure challenge like perspective. I think that it's enough of a like you really have to go in, like especially when you're pushing like difficulties and stuff. You really have to think through like, okay, like what am I bringing? What are my friends doing? And you really have to have each other's backs on a lot of stuff. And you really have to tackle things. Like if we went off and did our own thing, we would die quickly.
Yeah.
And if you do die, it's not like you res somebody. You actually have to call in another dropship. So like the whole thing is if you die, you're just dead. And I guess the lore is you're just dropping another person that you keep all your stuff. It's not like you lose anything. But it's very, very funny for all that stuff. So yeah, generally speaking, like I recommend it. I actually think it's very well done. But again, with server issue, like so, like they just have so many people trying to get in this game. They like last night it was like I maybe had to wait 5 minutes to get in for a queue.
Oh wow,
stuff like that. But largely, I mean, we're playing crossplay. It seems fine. I think Chase was having a good time with it, and it's tough to jump in without like knowing what you're doing. But I think he picked it up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I guess the last thing that I'll say as far as just a neat thing is when you're running and gunning, you pick your loadout basically going in. So you have your gun, your sidearm, your grenade. That's your kit. But then you have 4 like orbital things. So you can call down a turret, you can call down a rocket launch, and those are typically unlimited. They're on a cooldown, so you might have to wait like 3 minutes till you can call in the next one. But it's kind of neat. And then you could get perks to upgrade those so it can go quicker or whatever. But it is neat to like when you hold, so it's control on the PC, but to hold it down to see the menu on what you have to do. But then you actually have to hit arrows, so like WASD. But to call something down, it's almost like those old Konami codes with like back, forward, up, down, whatever.
Yeah.
Each one has its own code. As you're getting chased and as you're running, it's not as simple as just like hitting left, whatever to hit a strike. You actually have to like stop moving, hit your directional thing, and then keep going.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. I like that.
It adds a little bit of tension where like you have to be far enough away that like you can get the input in. And if you mess up, like, cause it's like some of them are like maybe 6, 7 things. So if you're doing it really quickly, you could screw up. But then you get that muscle memory in there too, where it's like, oh, I know that like right down or right up is the orbital strike. So I don't even have to look anymore. I can just be like, okay, I can do that real quick and throw it. It's kind of cool. It's neat. Yeah.
It's like a combo.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, basically, yeah.
Right.
So anyway, I played that. I liked it. It was good. But
cool. No, yeah. I know that you were telling me that you had a good time with it, so I'm glad.
I mean, it's $40 normal, $33 I think or something like that on Green Man. I don't know if it's still on sale, but
I was worried at first when you were having some issues, but I'm glad that they updated, patched some things.
They seem to be working around the clock to do it. And I don't want to, just to be clear, I don't want to minimize that. Like, especially a first party game from Sony, like you got to be on top of that.
Yeah.
But
it was a good recovery.
They turned it around and like people were playing it. Like it's not like,
yeah, I didn't realize it was that popular. So that's good news. I know that they were really pushing for that because like, throughout last year, there were a lot of every event, seemingly there was a trailer for that.
They beat like PUBG, I don't know, like Dev Circle or whatever it is, or like the test playground or something. Starfield, like they knocked out a lot of like consecutive people. But
impressive.
Yeah. No, I thought it was really, really good.
So you're going to keep up with that, you think? And
yeah, I mean, is it my like Tekken? Probably not. Like it's like I'm just playing it and enjoying it, and it's kind of like if people are on and playing it, I'll jump in and kill some bugs and things like that.
Yeah.
Kyle's pretty into it as Kyle gets. So he's doing like there's a whole back thing of like, okay, well, if you go to this planet and if you do it 3 times, you unlock extra bonuses and things like that. So for me, it's just, I just want to see what this game has, right? So like, jump to different planets, see the different environments. The lighting is really, really cool. So like you can be running, it's crystal clear. Storm comes in, fog comes in, you can't see anything. You have to turn a flashlight on some of the guns. And suddenly, like, bugs are, like, jumping out of the fog at you and stuff like that. Like, it gets wild.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, but, yeah, I think it's a fun B title.
Yeah.
Clearly they want an accessible game. Like, you have your Tarkovs out there. You have all these other games that, like, are challenging.
Yep.
This is as challenging as you want it to be, but anyone can play it. So there's a need for that out there.
Accessibility is important.
Yeah.
I think it's also interesting where you like rate it in that kind of B tier 8 out of 10-ish range.
Yeah.
But it's all expectation.
Yep.
And like, what is it trying to accomplish? Because like we rate Starfield, something like Starfield in a very similar area.
Yeah.
But the connotation is like so different because the expectation was different, right?
Yep.
And I just find that interesting, I guess. Just making a little observation.
It is expectation. They do enough little things that are like, oh, that's actually like neat and interesting and cool. Like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So anyways, you've been playing Helldivers in Tekken 8.
And in Deep Rock.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I want to hear about...
Well, let me rest my voice. You do Persona and then we'll come back.
Yeah, so I've been playing Tekken 8 as well. There's still no good Nina guides on the internet.
I voted for you, man. I voted
Nina. What is his name? Rufal Monger?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Sure.
Who's kind of like this. I will say this. Tekken 8 is severely lacking, in my opinion, on content creation.
Not a lot of people are out there.
I think there's a lot of people out there. Nobody's notable. There's no notable names. Like if you go to Street Fighter, I mean, the content creators are way bigger for those things.
I wonder if people are...
Or maybe it's a fighting
like,
game
if it's
thing. I don't
daunting.
know.
Like I wonder if people are just like, I don't feel... Like it's too new that maybe they don't feel like pro enough to call it out or something. Or
I don't know.
Maybe it's just not nearly as popular.
I'm not sure. There seems to be some sort of disconnect. Or maybe it's just the fighting game genre in general is just not as popular.
Yeah.
And so the content creation there is just not as large. There's like a couple of Tekken 8 guys that I've been watching.
Right.
But even then, they're like, 40,000 subscribers.
Just 40,000.
Look, 40,000 is great,
Sure.
but if you go to Call of Duty, the main guy is going to have 20 million.
Yeah, no, I
right?
completely understand.
So it's, there's definitely a substantial
I get it.
difference in that realm.
Yeah.
And it's not like their quality is bad or anything. Some of those guys are really good. Like the guy we've been watching that you voted for Nina because he did a community poll.
Yeah, he's like, look, everyone keeps bugging me on my guide, so like just pick one and we'll see.
Right. And there's 32.
Yeah.
But his are like 45 to like an hour long, super in depth, goes over like all the basics and fundamentals, and they're really well edited and just very engaging. Yes. So I don't know, but I don't see a lot of that. Like I would think like, I don't know. I would think that like, I'm used to more of a more saturated in content creation game.
Yeah,
like
I see what you're, like something that's popular where it's like there is no drought of like you could spend days just going through
like
stuff.
when Call of Duty came out. I don't know why Call of Duty keeps coming to my mind, but there was like a guide on every gun.
Yeah, like what the best loadout is.
What's the best loadout? What's the
everyone
how do you
has
play
their
this?
opinions.
Yes. In this, it's like, oh, I search Nina Williams. There's like barely any guides, and then the guides that are out there have like a couple hundred views.
Right.
And it's just not as the quality's not as good. There was one guy who I did like, but the problem is his guide was before the game even came out. It was like the demo version.
Dude, I immediately stop watching those if they come out or like that, where it's like, oh, they speculate what the game's going to be like. But it's like the demo, you have like Jin and Paul and Nina enjoy.
Yeah.
Which you would think more guides for Nina would be out because of that.
Nina is not. I sent you that chart. Well, you stumbled across that. She's in the bottom 5 or so.
Law's not too far away from that either, though.
That is that's more shocking to me because I would think that Law is generally considered, from what I've heard, a pretty easy character.
Yeah. I know. I'm maining an easy guy. You're maining a
not
very
easy
tough...
as in like any character has a large ceiling. I mean, that's the beauty of the fighting game,
right?
Like, I'm sure Law can be like a competitive fighter, like in tournaments, but he's beginner friendly. Let me say it that way. He's beginner friendly. Nina's not. So, that makes more sense. But she's like hot. So it's like, how is she? It just doesn't like, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, the fighting game, people who play fighting games, let's not beat around the bush here. Like, I mean.
Okay. Go ahead. Continue.
Don't you think hot characters are generally more popular? Is that a fucking crazy thing to say?
Are not every, like.
Is Chun-Li not one of the most popular Street Fighter characters?
For cosplay, maybe.
But I would like to see play rates. I don't know.
Play rates. Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
All time, yeah, because she's she's in everything.
She's one of the original.
I had this. Thanks, man.
Care packaged.
Yeah. Oh, I just keep coughing and
Thanks,
like I just
Chelsea.
need like my voice is starting to get raspy. Yeah, thanks, man.
I'm like striking out today. I'm just saying all the controversial things.
No. You're right on the line, and it's fine.
We've talked about this. Like fighting games, everyone's super attractive. The guys and the girls, to be quite frank. I mean, Law is a pretty good looking guy. He fucking I didn't even know there were muscles.
Yeah.
In the body,
he has a few
but he does this
muscles
flexing animation. I'm like, dude, look at all the muscles in his shoulder.
I sent you the video of
he's a beast
of where they got all the Bruce Lee stuff, or like where they got all the stuff from Bruce Lee. So it's like a side by side, like basically.
Bruce Lee was jacked, man. He's got to be like 2% body fat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I should just stop talking.
No, I mean it's a valid thing. But...
I think there's a correlation between attractiveness of characters and play rate. I think there's some correlation there. It's not the main correlation. Obviously, strength of character, ease of character factor into it. But to tell me that attractiveness of a character does not factor into play rate at all, I don't believe that.
The thing that I want to understand is why Panda is like the last picked character.
Because if you're going to play the Bears, you play Kuma. I think that's obvious.
I just don't know why. Like,
no, I think Kuma's just
cooler.
Cooler, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can put a articulation on why that is.
There has to be a.
Did you want me to shut this door?
No, the cats are sleeping, so it just kind of cools us off a little.
Gotcha.
There has to be a like a technical reason. There doesn't have to be, but I would want there to be a technical
think the
reason.
character design of Kuma is better than Panda.
I disagree. I think Panda
Really?
looks better. I think her costumes and stuff are better.
No.
Yeah.
I like Kuma's headband. I like his jean jacket.
Yeah, but you can get that anywhere. But like Panda has like a bee outfit. And like it has cooler dumb things.
It's cute, but I think the bee outfit is just more that initially, yes. But as you play it more, I appreciate the simplicity of Kuma.
Check this out. There should be more customization options.
No, Kuma and Panda are wildly disrespected in terms of customization that they can have.
If there was only something they could implement.
You can't even have just a headband on Kuma. I just wanted to have Kuma naked with a headband.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
You can't?
No.
Huh.
You can only have glasses on the bears. You cannot have hats, headwear.
Oh.
You can't even put Kuma in like a motorcycle helmet. How awesome would that be?
Yet.
That's what
I'm
hoping the Tekken store.
Tekken Shop.
Tekken Shop, sorry.
Tuesday, they're coming out with a bunch of...
I'm actually excited for that.
And stuff. Me too. I want to know what they're doing. But how do you feel about having like a cosmetic shop?
Love it.
Pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you
pay for I think that like normally I would say I don't like that because again, I'm going to go back to League of Legends here. I know it's probably tiresome, but I think it's a good comparison. Like if you have a cosmetic, very expansive cosmetic options, your game should be free to play, in my opinion, generally.
You mean microtransactions?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the difference with Tekken 8 is I think they have shown that there is enough variability in the customization in the base game that I am okay with. As a cat walks in.
I'll get the cats.
Oh, the cats are asleep.
Yeah.
Cats are asleep, man.
I can't be mad. She brought us a
No, Chelsea's the best.
Continue.
No, so I think that Tekken 8 has shown that in the base game, there's enough customization that even if you forego buying anything from the Tekken Shop, had to check if that was the correct one.
Tekken Shop?
Yeah, Tekken Shop. That I think you're still getting your money worth, even if you don't buy anything.
I can see that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, if they had no customization and then the Tekken Shop, I would be upset with that.
But they have less customization than Tekken 7.
Yes. That is what I heard, but I didn't play Tekken 7, so.
It's...
I will also say, too, in our initial review, I was very high on the customization, which I still am, generally. I think the customization is very good, but it's not as expansive as I once thought it was.
Yeah.
Like, specifically for female characters, I find that, like, the pants options are terrible. Like, you have skirts, you have, like, dress pants and jeans, and then, like, short shorts and stuff. But you don't have any, like, leggings or sweatpants. Because I wanted to make, like, a Nina costume where it's just, like, it's her day off and she's just fighting.
Which is kind of awesome.
Right.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool, but I couldn't get there. It was, like... I wanted like leggings or something, or like sweatpants, and I
or even like
maybe I missed it, but
like the gi, right? Like just like a normal traditional,
But I didn't see any of that in there, unless I just missed it. And I was
so
like,
what would you be looking at for the Tekken Shop then? Would you be looking for those type of things? Like if they sold sweatpants?
Yeah, just more expansive. Like I would love a swimsuit outfit. I could I would love because I saw this cool. I love just watching. And getting ideas from seeing so I watch all the like pro Nina players, and some of their outfits are really cool. And there was this one like she had a floppy hat on and like some wearing a blouse and stuff, and I'd be like, oh, I'd love like a beach day thing, like a top and like a swimsuit underneath and sunglasses and a floppy hat, something. So
would you want that as like a package deal? Like, would you want them to... so, like, for me, it's like, I'm probably going to eat my words.
Yeah.
But if they were like, hey, here is $100 pack, and it's all the Tekken 3 skins. For any character that was in Tekken 3, you can get their true Tekken 3, like, color scheme and, like, no crazy extras or anything like that. So, like, you want Yoshimitsu...
$100?
If they did... all the characters for $100 and it's just like here's all their variations. So like it's 2 costumes per character. And the thing is, like, you can kind of do that now, but if you look at the different costumes, like they have the Tekken 7 outfits in there.
Yeah.
So I could very easily see them like, oh, you want Tekken 6? What about 5? What about 4? What about, you know?
Yeah, they might do that.
So if they do Tekken 3, if I could get a Tekken 3 Yoshimitsu or Gunjack, that's where they would get me.
Yeah. Okay. So you kind of want the nostalgia.
I want the nostalgia, and I want like the full outfits that, like, if I'm gonna pay money for something, I don't want to like pay money for a bandana because I think it's gonna look a certain way, and then I buy it and it doesn't look right.
Sure.
I want like a full blown, like, here's a head to toe outfit.
Yeah.
The problem is, what do you charge for that? Because for me, anything over like I think $10 is insane.
I would do 5.
But I would pay up to 10 if I like for Yoshimitsu to look like Tekken 3 Yoshimitsu. I'd give him $10.
I would hope it's you can pay per character. Like okay, Yoshimitsu's 3 through 6 outfits for $20.
Dude, you're gonna be paying 3 through 6. You'll be paying like $40. Like you'll be
if
paying
$5
$10
per game. How many games is that? 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 4 games. $5 per game. You don't think?
I think the industry has gotten very expensive for that.
Well, I do know that I was watching something.
Actually, I'm gonna look up. Keep talking. I'm gonna look up Street Fighter stuff.
Street Fighter was a little bit. Well, they only came out with one. I think every character got an additional outfit in Street Fighter.
Yeah, but do you know what the
no, I don't know.
Cost was?
No, I don't know. So, I do know. I think Maximilian Dude was talking about this, and he's pretty tapped into the industry, obviously. So, the creators of Tekken specifically were saying that the toughest part by far is the implementation of customization.
Yeah,
it's just really difficult to include that in the game and make sure it looks good and works correctly, like physics wise and everything like that. Yeah. So that was a major reason I heard why they scaled it back from Tekken 7.
Sure.
Because I think they definitely prioritized visual quality in this game.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
And
so,
I would take that over because like you can still customize the outfits. So it's like,
well, that's why I would prefer. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I would love to see all their old outfits, but I would prefer like just new items because I think the creativity that these people have, and then you just give them more to work with would be really cool. Like for example, I saw an awesome King skin, where it's kind of like that day off vibe as well. Yeah. So he's in a tank top and sweatpants, like joggers, and then he's got a donut in his mouth. Like he's like hurrying up to the gym or something. Yeah. So there's just a donut shoved in his mouth.
That's pretty good.
It was good. It was really good. It was actually during a tour. I was watching like a preliminary tournament or something.
Yeah.
That was one of the better ones that stuck with me. I thought it was really clever.
So have you come across the same person yet in your online plays?
I don't believe so, no.
I've done it maybe 2-3 times now where I'll recognize somebody's like custom character and then I look at their name and it's like, yeah, that's the same.
Do you find that that's because you're kind of in a rank now that
in a
you're
certain area
living?
And like everyone's just kind of in that
I think I'm
biome.
Still trending upwards, I would like to say. I've taken a little bit of time off, so maybe not, but I'm like in the yellow rank still.
So there's like 2 yellow ranks. You're in like yellow rank 1 and then I'm headed towards the second yellow rank.
You're not in yellow, you're in orange.
Yeah, there's like a yellow after the orange. It's like light yellow or something.
I don't like that. I thought they were red after the orange.
I think it's yellow and then red or
yellow,
something.
Orange, yellow, red.
Something
I
like
hate that.
That's weird.
That's terrible.
I could be wrong, but
okay.
I
saw
I'm
your
middle.
guy. Like you were in distance before. You probably moved out of distance.
I'm destroyer now. So I went from vanquisher to destroyer.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm kind of still working on that, but. What was I going to say? No, I haven't really ran into multiple people. I will say that I had this really epic match against Arena. Just back and forth, came down to the wire several times to the point where she added me after the game as a friend.
Yeah.
It was a really well fought match. It was cool.
Yeah.
Like I was sweating. My heart was pounding, dude.
I assume you
it
won
came
then?
down to the wire.
Like,
yeah. And I won with a cartwheel kick, of course. But it was like slow mo. She goes low. I cartwheel mid into it.
Yeah.
It was like perfect.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Timing. And I felt really good about that game because I just felt myself adjusting. Like she was doing a lot of those like Mishima low spinning things. And I just felt myself countering that pretty well and like just recognizing tendencies.
Seeing the pattern. Because every fighter does, like, same thing. Yeah.
Now, for Reina, it's easier because just so many people play her. So I've noticed that.
She's number one?
She's number one by far.
That's crazy. I thought I saw another one that was Dragunov was number one.
He's up there. He's like top 3. I think Victor's up there.
Yeah.
But so I mean I don't know if she's won from the chart. I saw she was one, but she's the character I've played the most, so I've just I'm learning her through osmosis.
Yeah, well, she's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, that's really cool. Yeah,
I was surprised that she's so popular. I mean, I it's not like I disliked her, but I didn't
Heihachi,
click.
Man.
They
want him.
They want him.
I would love to see Heihachi come out.
Yeah,
and how that, like, where does that put him? Like, maybe people are just so into Reina now that it's just like, hey,
you see if
it's
they drop
Heihachi
her
but faster, and they just like, want her. But if they brought Heihachi back, I wonder if maybe people that like mained him would just be like, okay, see you, Reina, and just like jump to him.
Yeah, well, you said you would.
1000%.
Yeah, right. So I
would jump to him immediately.
I did see a really cool skin. Reina had like a hoodie on with her hood up.
Yeah.
And then as the fight goes on, you can knock it down. It's just so like the game. There's just little things like that.
But that's
so cool.
her overall costume.
Yeah.
So like that's where I keep going back and forth. Where like if they put the time and effort,
because like if you have a top hat, it doesn't do that.
If I put it on,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Like when I have Nina's wedding dress on.
Yeah.
My veil gets knocked off. For example.
Same with like Shaheen and I did look it up on the Street Fighter, so it averages around $6. So you're closer with the 5.
Yeah, that's. So I was gonna say that doesn't seem like $6 per character.
Yeah.
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 I think that's.
They said to get all the characters, it was like $118
in Street Fighter 6
to get all the all the outfits.
There's a decent amount of characters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's enough,
but per character, like it's like okay, I would buy a couple.
Yeah, like
the characters I play.
Like.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. So it's just like League. Like I'm not gonna buy a skin for a champ I don't play.
Yeah.
So as long as it's like that,
I
no
would
problem
absolutely pay for all the Tekken 3 skins though.
Well, that's your childhood, man. I mean, I can't knock
exactly.
you for that. I forget where you put that on your top 25 list, but it was
Tekken 3. Yeah. It's up there. Yeah,
like in top
definitely
10?
My top 10. Yeah,
top 5.
Now you're getting into the recency bias.
Yeah,
where it's
I
don't think top 5, but top 10 it has to be up there.
Yeah,
just for the sheer number of hours I put into it. Yeah. I
mean,
we both put 50 hours in. I think I'm at 49. You're at 48 and some change.
Yeah. I mean, I'm having a blast with it. I'm really liking it.
Yeah.
I had to give my thumb a rake though. I was destroying my thumb.
Or what are you doing tonight? You want to play it? You want to spar a little bit?
We can spar a little bit.
Yeah.
I have off tomorrow as well, so.
Oh, do you? And you have Tuesday off?
No, I moved. I had a lot of meetings on Tuesday. We don't get President's Day off, so I moved my Tuesday to Monday this week.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice.
I wish I had, but that would be awesome.
I mean, if you're off tomorrow, I'll play some stuff. That's cool.
I'll play tonight. I gotta keep playing Persona. So speaking of Persona, I've been playing Persona 3 Reloaded. It's great. I'm having a great time with it. And I wanted to bring this up too because when it pertains to Persona games, I always use a strategy guide, which I know a lot of gamers are very conflicted on or divided on, I should say. Like some people say it's not the true experience, whatever. The reason there's 2 games I've ever used strategy guides on. One, Pokemon, because I just had all the books when I was a kid.
Sure.
And I loved looking through the books and they had like the Pokedex in the back. And it was just fun finding all the little, treasure chests or whatever. Not treasure chests, but
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Secret areas or whatever. Anyways, but I also use it for Persona games. And my rationale is the games are so long that like, I'm probably only going to play it once. And then how the gameplay works in Persona is you have a limited amount of time and you have to be very efficient with your time. So if you are inefficient with your time and you're not doing things optimally or close to optimally, you miss out on relationships. Like there are just like, you won't see somebody's like, this happened to me in Persona 4 because I didn't use a guide. I missed like a couple characters, their whole thing because I ran out of days.
Yep.
Right? So, and look, I understand the argument where like, oh, well, that's part of the game. But for me, I hate missing content because I misplayed. Now, it would be different if it was like, okay, maybe I got a worse ending with this character. I would take that, but I still get to see their arc all the way through.
Yeah.
Right? But like, don't leave me hanging. Like, I'm on like 7 out of 10 conversations and like the big climax is coming and whoops, you ran out of time. I guess you don't get to see what happened.
Do you think that's like a way of just making people replay stuff?
Sure, probably.
Yeah.
But again, it's a 70-hour game. I don't, especially these days, like, yeah, maybe when I was a kid, I could figure it out, and that's the fun of it. Like, oh, I've played this game. I'm on my 3rd playthrough, and I finally maxed everybody out, and I know where to go on Wednesday nights, and Thursday nights I do this. But, like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I still have just as much fun using a guide. They tell me to go eat sushi on Wednesday. They tell me to go to trivia on Thursday to increase those stats. Talk to this guy on Monday. And I love it. I get into the routine. I start seeing like what's good. Like I still get that aspect of it where, oh, this place is really good to increase my knowledge stat. And, oh, I want to see this guy on Mondays because it's actually, I get a little bit of a bonus with him and things like that. So I still am seeing that and learning that kind of stuff and seeing what the rhythm is. But I don't have to do it through trial and error. I just have the answers. So
yeah,
I will say, while I do use like a guide for where to go, I do not use a guide for what to say to the characters because I
make your own decisions.
Want to make my own decisions. Yeah. So it's not like I'm just I don't like that aspect where it's like, oh, say this to your characters to get their max, whatever. Yeah. And it's like, I would understand why people do that, but like for me, it's like, well, I like answering how I would answer, and then naturally you kind of see which characters you vibe with.
But that's the whole point. Is at the end of the day, play how you want to play. Like, who cares?
Yeah, 100%. No, yeah. I don't blame anyone. Like I said, I understand where people are coming from when they say like, oh, I don't use a strategy guide. But again, you're exactly right. Like, dude, just leave me alone. Because I know, like, for example, I think Jeff is playing this. What Killed Jeff? Twitch.tv.
Yeah.
/ What Killed Jeff. I think he's playing Persona 3, but I know he played Persona 5 last year, and he was going to use a guide and didn't because a lot of his audience was like, I can't use a guide, this and that. But then, while he's playing, they're also yelling at him for doing this. It's like, you can't have it both ways, man. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't want this guy to use a guide, he's going to, like, fuck a lot of things up because it's a lot of trial and error, right?
Well, that's the same thing with, like, all the Souls-like and stuff, too, where it's like you could go online and find out what everything means and do everything, or do you explore it yourself?
I think it's a little different because you don't have a time limit in the Souls games. You can just explore to your heart's content.
Sure.
That's the big thing with Persona. You have X number of days, and then you're locked out of content.
Yeah.
You're locked out of content. I don't hate that content as long as I can use an optimal
time limits. Guide. I hate time limits.
No, I like it. There's a strategy to it. I actually like that. It's like, okay, I got to use my time efficiently. But that's why I like the guide.
Sure.
Because it's like now I get to see that strategy.
Yeah.
And I get to execute it perfectly.
Sure.
I don't know. I have fun with it. I have a good time with it. I will say the game's going well so far. It's a Persona game. Music's great. The style of the game is fantastic. It's one of the best parts of the game. It's just stylistically, the menus are cool. The character portraits are cool. Just the little details. The UI is super cool. Like the calendar looks cool. The font, everything. It's all stylized.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know me, I like the combat. It's like, that turn-based Pokemon-esque strengths and weaknesses, a little more in-depth than Pokemon. So I like it because it makes you think a little bit more.
Do you like it more than 5? Did we talk about that last week?
I need to finish it. I think I would need to finish it because I got to see where the story's going.
Okay.
Because I think the narrative affects it. I would talk just gameplay. I think 5's better just because it's newer.
Well, I was talking more like combat wise.
Yeah, 5's better. There's just more layers to it, but they've done an amazing job with 3. And when I wrap up the game and plan on reviewing it, I need to go back and just check what the original state of the game is because I believe they've added so much stuff.
Yeah.
Quality of life stuff into this. I never played the original 3, so I need to really confirm what they've added. So, for example, I know that all of the portraits for the characters are new.
Yeah.
All of the voice actors are new. I don't know if the dialogue's different, but the voice acting is incredible in this game. They got some heavy hitters, and yeah, so they completely revamped that. I got to see about the combat. I don't know if the combat's largely similar to the original, but yeah, that's what I'm very curious about. But the game is extremely polished and just a ton of fun.
That's what I got Nate for his birthday.
Oh, you bought him it?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, I was getting him a Helldivers, but I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know if
he's excited for that. He loves that series.
Yeah, like I know he's super into World of Warcraft, but I think he played the original one, right?
I don't know.
Like he might be a person to check in on like, okay, hey, like
they had
how close is this? Because he said he was like
portable
story and stuff.
So they remade it they ported it onto the PSP. But the original one I think was on the PlayStation 2.
Oh wow. Okay.
Right. It's an old game. It's 2009.
Yeah.
So I want to check in with the original, like the PlayStation 2 one.
Right.
I want to go back and see what that looked like and what they added and everything.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been my experience. I'm excited. I'm probably like halfway through it.
Okay.
Maybe a little less.
Are you going to be able to finish it in 2 weeks?
I gotta get to work.
Yeah.
I gotta get to work.
Less than 2 weeks, technically. You have what, 27th, I think is
29th. It's the last day of February.
Yeah. So what day is that? That's Thursday?
Let me check.
It has to be Thursday.
It's
that's
a
when
Thursday.
I need to get out of the apartment. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
29th. Oh yeah, I have this week and part of next week, so I gotta really.
So maybe not playing Tekken at night.
Yeah, it's a maybe. It's gonna be a maybe. I want to play Tekken, but I mean, I get home, I can play that for like 5 hours and then hop on Tekken.
Yeah, if you want to get your ass beat, you can always hop in.
Anyways, tell me about
Deep Rock Survivors. I don't know if it's Deep Rock Galactic Survivors or just Deep Rock Survivors. So Deep Rock
probably
Galactic,
just Deep Rock, because Deep Rock Galactic's a whole different game.
Yes. Well, yeah, but it's Deep Rock Galactic. It's in that universe.
Oh,
that's the whole thing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You didn't know that?
No, I thought you were just mixing up games.
No. So
okay.
Deep Rock Galactic is a first-person dwarven mining game
in space
that you're going through, killing bugs, doing your thing.
Yes.
We
played that one.
Yeah. But they took that.
I didn't like it.
And they put it into, well, we didn't really.
I don't like games like that.
Yeah, I know you. Yeah.
They just, I don't know. Sorry. Continue.
I think you would if we went into it a little bit longer. But anyway, either way.
Okay.
They took that game and they made it into a Vampire Survivors.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's top down.
Okay.
Solo. You pick your guy.
Yeah.
And auto shoot bugs and just kind of kite bugs, exactly like Vampire Survivors.
Yeah.
You're grabbing weapons, you're upgrading weapons, you're getting perks, you're doing all that stuff. Still a dwarf, still the one-liners, still all of that.
Okay.
The main difference between Deep Rock Survivors and Vampire Survivors is you mine as you're going. So like if you kind of like mine through some things and kind of make these like little paths to like force the bugs a certain way to kind of like choke point them and stuff like that. So Vampire Survivors is just like wide open. You're just kind of going. So there's a little bit of strategy there. You get multiple weapons. So you're picking up weapons and upgrading them and doing different things. So like every time you level up, you pick a perk and whatnot. But you're also reloading weapons. So there's like kind of like a reload speed factor into it and stuff.
Okay. Like a perfect reload?
No, but
like you
you have to like every weapon is different in the reload state and different things like that. And the different classes do different things. So like, for instance, the scout, you just go and anywhere that there's a bug, you just shoot the bug and it goes.
Yep.
With the gunner, you shoot a lot more bullets, but you have to be facing where you want to be shooting. So you're never shooting guys behind you. So it's like higher firepower, but less utility in that sense.
Right. Okay.
Engineer has like turrets you could put out and stuff. So like you're in the miner is mainly mining stuff. You're not actually killing bugs. So there's a lot of like unique ways to play the game.
Yep.
And it's still in early access. So it's not like complete by any stretch, but there's a lot of content in there. It's been really fun. And it is that kind of loop of like, just one more.
Yeah.
That's what I was playing this morning.
Okay.
It was a nice kind of, it's a great Steam Deck game. Like just play it on the go. And it goes fairly quickly. I think every mission takes maybe like around like 15 minutes, that sort of thing. But yeah, overall it's pretty good. I've been unlocking a ton of stuff and like slowly getting better and whatnot. But you go 5 levels down, fight the big boss, move on to the next stage type of thing. So
okay.
Still early.
It's solo. You play by yourself, or
yeah, they kept saying solo. I don't know if multiplayer is like supposed to be part of it or anything like that, or it might be, and I missed it. But it is like it's literally Vampire Survivors. Like that's what it is. It's just a new take on that genre.
I did like Vampire Survivors, so I would be more inclined to get into that.
Yeah, this is nothing like Deep Rock Galactic.
Yeah,
like Deep Rock Galactic, you're like everyone has like. You're using your zip lines and you're trying to like, like mine stuff and get certain like goals and different things like that, which is still in this where it's like, oh, we want you to collect like, I'm making this up, like 500 gold before you extract or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's still that, but then that gets kind of funneled into like you upgrading your different like stats and stuff like that. But it's just a fun, dumb, like if I'm winding down one night, I'd play a couple rounds of that and call it a day. But
yeah, those games are right up your alley. The short hits, high dopamine.
Yeah, I mean you're doing Persona. What I might end up doing actually, if no one's on Helldivers, because Helldivers had such a rocky launch, they did double XP for the weekend, but then the servers are still screwed up, so I don't know how that works. But I did download the full version of Skull and Bones. So now I gave it, I don't want to say scathing, but I was not impressed with it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to jump in there and just kind of see.
Try it.
I don't think it even, let me double check.
Did you give up on Like a Dragon? You said you were going to play that.
No, I want to play it, but the $70 price tag is putting me, like, where I'm like, I'll get that on sale because I still don't know if I'm going to like it.
Why not? It's Steam, right?
It's Steam, yeah. Dude,
2 hours, not enough?
Yeah, but isn't that like a 70-hour game?
You don't think you'll like it?
I don't think I'm going to know what it is in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like that always worries me, where, especially when we're going to be jumping into Final Fantasy in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'd rather kind of like, let's put it, I would rather play Tekken and play Skull and Bones and just like see what that is first. Personally.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Like a Persona with Final Fantasy is a tough combo. Like you like those games, so like that makes sense.
I would probably like those Yakuza games because that's kind of my alley. Like wacky.
Like I would be closer to getting Banishers, which is like a action RPG type thing.
I haven't even heard of that one.
It has an 81. Skull and Bones has a 60 right now.
Is that a green guy?
So hey,
is that a green sick guy?
Yeah. At least that's in line with what I was saying.
Yeah.
So I'm not like,
I mean,
the thing that would have killed me is like if everyone was like, oh, this is like a 90, it's like the best game ever. I'd be like, man, did I miss something big?
Yeah.
But that checks out. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I have to try to do that more personally, just like, because I always find myself going to Open Critic first, and I think seeing a rating might influence what I think about a game.
Yeah.
But it's so tough because I like getting a sense of what.
Well, like that's the thing is like it's a lot of money. Like it's a lot. Like Skull and Bones is one thing because it's like okay, it's like $15 for like the month or something.
Yeah.
But Like a Dragon got great reviews, but I'm like I'm not sold that I would like that game.
Yeah.
But it's also
like
$70.
I will say this. I was way lower than the critics on Persia. So that made me happy, where it's like, oh, I saw this was like very highly rated, and then I rated it much lower.
Yep.
Not abysmally, but like I thought they were way too high on that game.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe I'm not totally influenced by it, but yeah, I don't know. Anyways, before we wrapped up, do you want to share a quick? I mentioned earlier in the show, I had a D&D session on Friday.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool, so I wanted to get your thoughts on
what.
this.
What number is this? This is like the continuation, right? Like
third or fourth session.
Okay. All right.
Something
Gotcha.
like that. So anyways, essentially what's going on is they're all trapped in the Underdark. They're all prisoners in this drow kind of prison. They escape together, and they're just trying to work their way to get out of there. So this session was like one of those sessions where like not a lot happened.
Okay.
But it was very fun. So essentially what happened was the first part of the set. So as a DM, I have like 5 bullet points down of like, here's what I want to try to accomplish during the session. We got to number 2.
Okay.
Just naturally, that's how D&D goes. Like things just take way longer than you think.
Yeah.
Because like when you're planning it out, you're like, oh shit, this is just one combat. Like this is gonna take like 30 minutes, and then we have 5 hours left. It's like, okay, you got to keep writing. So you write all this stuff, and it's like, oh, that's right, we're gonna be bullshitting and talking about other stuff, and people are gonna go pee, and like what I mean. Like it's just like a whole thing. So, anyways, we started off with a combat. And it was a cool combat. Like I was trying to think about what you said, and like, okay, how can we make combat more interesting? And I know something that Nate, my cousin, talks about a lot is he wants to see more environmental aspects thrown into the combat itself. So I try to implement that in this. So how this one was structured was it was just a regular world combat, but they were on this like really small natural land bridge that just had an abyss on either side of it. So it made so like the grids actually meant a lot more because they couldn't just surround the enemy.
Yeah.
But also you had the opportunity to potentially throw other people off, or they could try to throw you off. So like it was this really cat and mouse thing of like, oh, I don't know if I want to get too close. That guy looks really big.
Yeah.
He looks strong. So there were a lot of factors that were implemented into this combat that I really liked, where it wasn't just I run up and hit. There was a lot more strategy kind of involved. Like when the barbarian's thinking about whether he wants to just go in and, it's like, you're doing something good.
One thing, not to interrupt you, like the one thing, I was thinking a lot about this, because how many times are we in a combat and it's like either people like just stop paying attention, or it's like, okay, sorry, which one am I attacking? Because it's all like, we're just killing enemies. They're just a bunch of grunts, whatever. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
One thing that I think, like if I was DMing a combat scenario like that, like the environment would be a very big factor. Not necessarily a factor of the game per se, but you could say like, oh, this person is standing on this thing, or like be very descriptive of like where they are within the thing, like what they're looking at, who they're focusing on, that sort of thing. And then giving them like distinct features. So it's like, oh yeah, this goblin has a red mohawk, or this goblin has like the gold earring. And you're kind of attributing these like little like kind of characteristic factors. So it's like people can kind of pick up on it. They're like, oh, I'm going after the gold earring guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's a subtle, dumb thing, but I think that would like engage it more, or get people more like kind of picturing how everything's laid out.
I have to do a better job of that. I always struggle with this is something Jeff does incredibly well, where he's super detailed. Like for example, in one of our last sessions, like the queen of the sea elves, just him describing her appearance and her dress in intricate detail. So good. Like I could picture exactly what she looks like. I do a terrible job with that. The strength that I have is like, I would say I'm pretty good at like, you can, in like 2 seconds of talking with one of my NPCs, you can get a pretty good idea who you're dealing with. I think my characters are like pretty unique in that sense, probably because they're super dumbed down into like a stereotype of some sort.
Yeah, but sometimes you need that.
Right, because it's like, look, we're not going to sit here and have an hour-long conversation. You got to really kind of understand what you're dealing with pretty quick. One thing that I do sometimes is like, if someone is doing really well on the enemy team in combat, I'll give them like a name. So I named this guy. This one big drow was just clobbering them. They couldn't hit him because they were just rolling like shit. So like he got a name, and they just hated this guy. Like, oh, I want to kill this guy so bad. And then you love that as a DM because when they finally do it, it's just like,
it's very like Lord of the Rings, right? Like the War for Middle Earth type of thing where like you eventually get those kind of rivalries going.
Yes.
I love that.
Exactly. So, and I don't think any of my players listen to this, so I think I'm safe. But they decapitated him and sent him off the abyss. I think I might pull a Shadow of War.
Just shows back up with a stitch.
Yeah. Sewed back on.
That's awesome.
Black magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just going to be a reoccurring. Like, they're never going to get... He's going to get more powerful every time.
There needs to be more fleeing, I think, in combat. Like, there needs to be that sort of thing.
So here is... of, like, the enemies?
Yeah, like if you're crushing the enemy, like one
I
just
do that all the
runs.
time.
Yeah, like, and then they come back with reinforcements at, like, an inopportune moment.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're just going and you're just like, oh, there's another combat.
No.
It's like, oh, these guys have a bone to pick. And you develop that storyline. It's really cool.
That's a great call. I do implement fleeing a lot, and something that we've talked about before, but I think is really important philosophy of any dungeon master is as the characters develop strength, there's a tendency to like, oh, okay, I got to match them on their level. I got to like, what's going to be an even challenge? Like, no, throw the goblins at them again, and then they get to just flex about how far they've come. Like, remember when we used to struggle against these guys?
Yeah.
Now we're just one-shotting them. Like, players love being OP.
Yeah.
And so every once in a while, you sprinkle in like a weak enemy who's like running their mouth, and then they just get absolutely eviscerated in one turn, and you just see the smiles on players' faces.
And especially like if you have the goblins come back for like a round 2, but brought like their big like beefy like friend or like their champion, and then the players still just like one shot them.
Exactly.
Just keep that going is almost like a meme type thing. Like you could have a lot of fun with that.
No, I think it's a really good idea. So I think I'm gonna cook something up with that because I've given him a name. They know him. It's memorable. That combat was tough. He's gonna come back and just get stronger. But just a total Shadow of War.
See you're gonna be really want to do it like next session.
No.
It's gonna you gotta wait.
I gotta wait.
Like maybe even sprinkle in like just somebody just offhand mentions like, oh yeah, and so and so's like if they're exploring like a town or something and like say, oh yeah, I heard so and so is on the countryside or whatever. People would be like what? Like, it's like no, we killed him. It's fine.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, thank goodness that you murdered him or whatever, and like. Don't give it up, and then when he just like pops out of nowhere.
I'm gonna wait on it. That's something we've talked about too, where it's like
it's so hard,
so
especially
tough.
when you have a good idea that you want to like pull the trigger right away.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was the first thing, and that took forever.
Yeah,
it was like 3 or 4 people, and it was just like so long.
Yeah,
but that was such a great combat too, because drows are actually interesting. They have poison, like they dip their arrows in poison and stuff, and so like. Devin got poisoned, so all of his attacks were at disadvantage. So he was like, I'm going to try to medicine myself, get the poison out, like assess what's going on. So it was just very much, you would have been proud of like.
I'm jealous because like
it was not just hit.
Like,
It was very like people were doing a bunch of different things. So I really liked that. The second thing we did was they were trying to rest after that because they used everything. And I was like, oh, no, not in the Underdark. You don't get the rest down here.
Yeah.
So there's just like this huge earthquake, and they're like trying to figure out what's going on. So it turns out it's a purple worm.
Okay.
That the combat that they just did has woken it up or whatever, and it's coming straight for them. And then my cousin, Nate, talked about this. I think he saw it in some type of video. It's like a skill check scenario or something. I forget what it's called, but essentially how it works is he might have described this to you as well. It's like the example that they give is like a chase, right? And generally it's like, okay, just roll your athletics versus their athletics or whatever, right? But in this one, it's like, okay, every turn you have to use one of your ability checks, and you have to use it in a creative way. You have to tell me which one you're using and how that's going to assist you in whatever you're trying to accomplish. And then you can't use that one again. So in the description I gave them, it was like, okay, let's say you're chasing someone or you're running away from someone in town, or like the cops. You're running away from the cops, and Maybe you'll use a history to know the back routes to get an advantage, to shortcut, to get away from them faster, right?
Yeah.
Or you'll use a stealth to hide in a barrel, or you'll use a persuasion to run into a shop and convince them, don't tell them I'm here or whatever, and run into the back, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things you can kind of utilize. So they're running away from this purple worm, but we're doing this thing where they have to use an ability check every turn. And I was like, okay, let's see how they do with this. I wasn't sure how they were going to do because it's kind of a tough ask if you haven't done it before. Right. They did an awesome job. There was just so many creative ways that they, like you had people climbing stuff, using acrobatics. You had people using histories to try to discern more about purple worm weaknesses or what they're like trying to accomplish. It was really like survival checks to like get a lay of the land really quick and or nature checks or whatever. So that was really fun, and they seem to respond really well to that. So that's something I'm gonna put in the toolkit for further. Like the chase is like a obvious one, but I would love like something that came to mind for me is like, have you ever been at like a party and you're trying to get information? It's like, can we use it for that? So it's not just like, oh, I use my investigation. It's like, no, use your deception on this guy. Use your persuasion here. Use your history of this clan. Like, what are they?
Yeah.
You know, what do you know about them?
Which is awesome because like that will foster that line of thinking.
Yes.
So, like sometimes, especially if it's like a new player or something, you have to kind of show them it's not so just like black and white or on railroad trail. Like you can kind of just try something.
Yes. And they did. They did a great job.
Do it.
They responded to it. And some of the players that I was like more worried about, that was like, oh, they might just get trapped in like, I just want to run.
Yeah.
They actually were the most creative.
That's awesome.
Which was really impressive to me. So I had a lot of fun with that. And that was a really cool thing.
That's great.
Yeah. So I'm excited. We didn't get a lot accomplished again, but those are like some of the most memorable sessions where you just have like really quality.
Exactly. Like if it's something where you like you immediately tag, you're like, okay, we got to talk about this. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like if it is something that sticks with you, that's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that campaign continuing forward. I think next session is going to be a big turning point in the story.
Yeah.
Because as of right now, they're just like, okay, we're trying to escape the Underdark. What's this book about? Sure. The book's called Out of the Abyss. So it's like,
yeah.
That
so you are going off of a book versus doing your own.
That whole session was not in the book, though.
Yeah. Sure.
Which again
best,
tends to be the best
that,
moments is not in the book.
Yeah.
But again, I get to have that narrative structure laid out for me where it's like, and it's beautiful too because like next session, like there's this whole thing on how it's supposed to go down, and I'm just totally changing it because I don't really like how they go about doing that, and I want to make it more vague so that like because I don't know what my players are going to do, obviously. Like you never know. But I do have to shoehorn them into this one situation more or less. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm excited for that to continue.
What if I was just in behind the scenes for the past like year working on a campaign?
Or, have you been?
No.
Okay.
But would you play it? If I was just
I would always play it, even if you weren't planning it for a year. Yeah. I loved we played like one session with you.
Yeah, well, we played a few off Avernus or whatever, but
I was talking about the one where it was just homebrew.
Did we do homebrew?
Yeah, I remember we met this gnome. His wife was a big warrior.
Yeah.
Someone ripped his door off of his hut and used it as a shield. It was probably Nate.
That was Nate. Yeah. He just tied the goblin to it and stuff, and I had him like roll to like wake up and come out of consciousness.
Yeah,
that
was memorable. But it was like only one session.
Yeah, well, yeah,
it's tough, dude.
I have all those books, man. Like
you do.
We were cleaning out the apartment, and like one of it, like we had a giant mat, that would just cover the entire table of just like here are all your hexes. You can like draw on it and like do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
and like I couldn't bring myself to throw it away because I'm just like I would love to just sit down, really plot everything out, and have like a good like, hey, for the first few sessions, whatever you do, like we're golden. Just like let's just play it and have a good time like that. But
I would love to sit down and because I've had this thought a lot where it's like, oh, what if I just had a world I made and I just knew everything about it? I'm not that guy. I'm not Tolkien, dude. I can't do that. I've tried.
Yeah.
I just not like that detailed. I'm good more at the improv.
Yeah.
So what if I just lean into that, where it's like, okay, I sit down, I have a blank notebook, and I'm like, okay, guys, what's the world called? The world called Eve. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Or you guys are whatever. You come with your backstories. We're in this town. We have like a starting mission. We have a starting point.
Yeah.
But it's like we develop the world together. It's like, and then I'm just like, yeah, this government's a monarchy, and I start writing that down or whatever. And it's like, and then you talk about like, oh, I know this village over there, and you have the freedom. Like you'd have to trust your players a lot to just not abuse that power.
Yeah.
But you'd be like, oh yeah, they're known for this one fish. It's incredible, and they're having a bandit problem. And I'm just writing all this down. It's like, and then we just start developing the map, and as we go on, and we just start saying bullshit about like, oh yeah, I've been there, or oh hey, here's this town, and I just make something up about it real quick.
Yep.
We have a world after like a year, right?
Yeah, that sounds awesome, and you can have people make as detailed as they want, or you can have the probing things of like, okay, like what's their import, or like, I mean, Jeff did such a great job in the very beginning, like, how do you guys all know each other? How are you coming together? How are you involved in XYZ and like splitting into different groups and stuff? And I typically don't like breakout groups, but it made sense in that regard. And it really kind of set the tone of like different relationships at the start. And I think that really kind of engages everyone to like have a common, like we always talk about this, but it's like, it's always about the purpose.
Yeah.
Is like, what are you trying to do? And that's the thing that I keep struggling with is like, what is the purpose of everybody, and how much does like a backstory contradict or influence how you handle that within a game, or like how much can you force hey, everyone, suspend your disbelief. This is why you're here. This is what you want to do. Yeah. And to some extent, if you just say like the player, you're here because of this. This is your goal. Everything else, do whatever you want, but like this is your driving factor.
Yeah.
I would love to experiment. Like, how much does that like hurt the game? Is that okay? Can people like wrap their heads around it and just be like, okay, that's fine, and then just move on?
I still want to do that game where you're all orphans grown up together.
Yeah.
And you just,
yep.
We did that more or less, but you just have to have like such incredible buy-in from the players.
Yeah.
Because that's like, it's a lot of pressure on them.
Yep.
To like just feel it out. And it's like, I guess that's selfish because like that's how I play the game. Like I feel my character out as I'm role playing them.
Yeah.
Whereas I think most people, or maybe not most, but other people are, I write my backstory and then that's my character.
But is it selfish to have like-minded players? Where like I understand you do lose a little bit of a dynamic thing where like, oh, this person always wants to be like the most badass fighter or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Or they make it very much combat focused. Which is, again, fine, but like there is a beauty to like, if everyone in your group loved combat, cool, just do a combat campaign, like everyone's happy.
Yeah.
But if you got a group together that is loving the story and the improv and the just like, let's see what happens type of thing, and like, if combat's like low on the priority list or whatever, I feel like that's not a bad thing. Like it never works out that way with your group, but like I think over the course, like if you have certain people that really like connect, with that way of thinking, like that could be a really fun, like that could be like a specific campaign or something.
Yeah. I love the idea of just being like, okay, I show up, I do not know what class I'm going to play.
Yeah.
And based off my rolling and my interests, because like the whole idea was like, okay, you're growing up and it's like, okay, it's time for, recess.
Yeah.
And you're outside and you're like really good at I don't know, like
I think
whatever.
Your actual role stats, I would try to be as fair as possible, where it's like as certain things are happening in the session 0 or whatever, everyone would have essentially the same checks on that part.
Yeah,
where
no,
it'd be
exactly.
Like those are your roles.
Right.
But then as far as like your proficiencies go and things like that, that would be purely how you're handling yourself in the world.
Right.
And I think the thing you would run into is certain people would try to cheese it a little bit, where it's like, oh, I'm just going to constantly keep checking the history of this or whatever, like
Yeah.
So it would be very,
All right.
You could see where some people are trying to go, and like, do you let them, or do you say, well, based on the dice, you have to go this way?
Well, I always love this idea because, like, let's say you have a guy who wants to play, I want to play a magic character.
Yeah.
And, like, that makes sense. Like, maybe someone's born, they're just fascinated with magic. Like, that doesn't take me out of it at all, right?
Right.
Let's say he rolls just so poorly on his intelligence checks. Like, he studies his hardest. He's trying to be a wizard. He's trying to make it into college. And he just can't do it. Okay. Well, let me back up. So the first check would be like, okay, is this person like born with natural magic? That would be a sorcerer, right?
Yeah.
No. So you make whatever roll or whatever check to see if they're just naturally inclined for that. Now they're trying to work their ass off and try to be a wizard, okay? And they're failing at it. What's that last class you have? Warlock. What does that indicate? Oh, you're giving something up for power. Like, oh, I can't do this myself, so now I'm going to reach out to this being and sacrifice something, and they're going to give me, and I will force my way into magic, which I think a lot of Warlock packs are probably started in that kind of vein.
Yeah.
So that, to me, in the magic path makes perfect sense. Like, you have all of those opportunities, and you can go down that route, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I think there's something there. The other ones are maybe a little bit more difficult. So, like, you have your martial classes where it's like fighter and barbarian. I think those are pretty straightforward in terms of like, okay, do you have physical prowess? Do you have? I would kind of say that like maybe a barbarian is a little bit more natural power than fighters, more honed ability. Right, like technique.
A barbarian would if it's starting out in like a tavern or like your basic like, okay, everyone's part of this village. That's how you know everyone. Like, it's just that would always be my setting.
Right.
A barbarian would be like, okay, like your personality is less refined. You are a little bit more just kind of like a brute. Like you're not really high intelligence. You're like that sort of thing. So if you're going for something martial, like it would be. Like you would fall in one of those categories. If you roll well on certain checks, like you turn more into like a fighter. We kind of finesse the story where you're more like middle class, whatever. The other one is like, you're just constantly drunk in a bar somewhere that you're just getting,
See, I have like for the magic one, I have the what would you call it? Like the
path, like
branching paths, pretty well defined. I mean, because there's like 3, and then it's like there's like a kind of very clear step progression. Like you're either born with it, you're either able to work hard enough to get it, or you sell your soul for it, right? There's a 3-step plan there. But for the other ones, I'd have to really sit down and think about like, okay, well, what are the other categories, right? There's obviously a religious category, so you can be a paladin, you can be a cleric. There's probably the only 2, right? So there's that. There's like a martial, like physical category where it's like fighter, barbarian. There's a nature category where it's like a ranger or a druid. And then what are we missing? Bard is unique. more of a magic, but you could potentially loop that into the magical kind of area. What do bards use? Charisma?
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with bard. And then what else am I missing? I mean, you have artificer, which is a whole different thing, but that's intelligence based.
At the end of the day, you would have to have people that are willing to go down any path you provide.
Right, and but I like having a branching path, and then you always have an out. You always have an out, right? So like the guy who fails everything has an out.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, you wanted to be a sorcerer. You weren't born into magic.
Yes.
You failed this.
You still want to do magic?
Here are your stats, and then you introduce a different character, like something where they could pivot.
Yeah, but does that feel bad for the player? I don't know.
Well, that's what I mean is you would have to have a player who is like-minded. Where
that's why I love you as a player, because I know that you would just go and roll with the best attitude possible. Because you're not worried about being strong. You're worried about having a good character.
My character in the current D&D game is I'm always on the brink of death.
Yeah.
But again, that's the character is like, in my mind, it's like, no, I'm fine. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's something there. I would have to think.
I still would love to have a dual GM situation where even if it's like one person is like the world building and one person is like dedicated to making like combat perfect or something, where it's like you have one person that's like, when it's combat time,
do they
have
play
it all
the
stuff.
game? What like?
No, it would be like, so like for instance, if you're like, okay, here's the story, here's all these characters or whatever, and if you want to bounce ideas or whatever, but then it's like, okay, here are all these NPCs, like you're gonna do the voices of them and stuff, and then I would just do voices and be the NPCs and be the personalities and stuff. So you kind of like, you don't have to know everything. You can give like quick notes of like, okay, this person is like boisterous and a gambler or whatever, and then it's like another person brings them to life, where you don't have to do that and this. Like you separate a lot of the responsibilities where it's like you don't have to be on for everything. You could focus all your time on the world or like the city or the storyline, or trying to figure out how that goes without having to interact with the players. So like as that's happening, you can kind of like sit back, watch it develop, and then jump in and be like, oh, here's what happens. Yeah. It'd be the same thing with combat, where if you're, and I'm just spitballing, but it's like if you're less inclined with like the combat, or you're like, I don't like describing XYZ, whatever. If one person's whole job is just to make like a kick-ass combat, which takes time, right? Like you would have to be like, okay, like really plot out like the descriptors of like the area, like arena that you're in and all that stuff. I think I always thought that it's like, if you're just doing that by yourself, it's a daunting thing. Yeah. And this is just me, right? So like for me, 90% of my best ideas are if I'm sitting across from you, just bouncing stuff off of you. It just keeps getting refined and refined and refined.
Yeah.
So it's like, is a DM, if I'm building something, I would love to have someone just be like, okay, hey, here's all these things. Oh, that's a great idea, but what if you did this, or blah, blah, blah. Cool. And then it's like, you're going to handle this section.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just,
a lot
I agree, because it's like, I work well that way as well, in terms of like, I like talking with someone, and that's how I formulate a lot of my ideas.
Right.
And as DM, it's extremely lonely, because you can't talk to your players about it, because it spoils it for them. So then I come on here and I talk about like my session.
Right.
Because I can't talk about it with them and be like, oh yeah, you know, that big guy you fought, I'm really thinking about bringing him back. That like ruins the whole thing. So it's like,
but that's what I'm saying is like, if I ever did a campaign,
yes, I
don't think I'd want to do it. Like I would, at the very least, I would want to like, we would just have sessions together. But I would, like, if you wanted to play in the campaign, then I couldn't do that with you, right? Like, so that's
right,
that's
exactly.
the problem.
That's
the
that's the challenge.
Yeah. That would be interesting to do. Like like what would that look like if we were just like, hey, we're gonna do a campaign.
Yeah.
And we got like, you know, like your Nate, Jabbo, Jeff, Dwayne, everyone. Right. I would love to see Josh back and just see how that all interacts, because that'd be wild. Yeah. But like you could have some really interesting things, and like you look at someone like Harbin who like is new, right? Yeah. But like, how do you get him to come out of his shell even more than he already has? Yeah. I think it could be really, really cool. But I don't know. Yeah. I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's great ideas. It's all time, dude.
Tough implementation.
All, it's all time. It's all.
You're both having kids. That puts a wrench in plans.
But that's in the back of my mind. It's like, okay, if the kid's sleeping and I'm just like sitting there, like, you know, if you're holding, maybe I'm way off. If I'm just holding my kid, my mind's going still,
hey,
right?
Dude,
or you know, or
make a world, bro. Out. Make a world.
Yeah,
I want to play in your world.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is you want to play in my world, which means I can't bounce any ideas off of you.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
For a foundation thing, it would be, how do I get as much information on how the players want to play and do different things? And like Jeff did that in the very beginning too, where he was trying to get an idea of like, okay, like what are people looking for? What do we want? You know, what direction we want to go and stuff. So it's just
such
like,
a tough thing as a DM, because I do that as well, where it's like, oh, you guys having fun? Are you having fun? It's like, I need to just do shit and then just gauge the reaction. Yeah. Like last session I had, everyone was like, hey, I had a lot of fun with that, man. They're going to tell you. They're going to give you feedback, right? They're not going to say that was shit. But if they're not saying anything, I mean, you can easily tell when people aren't having fun. Right?
It should be at the end of every session, one thing you loved, one thing you doesn't like.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah.
DMing is really hard, man. But I like it. Like sessions like this, I'm like, oh, I love DMing. Yeah. And then you have tough sessions where it's like, oh,
every time you talk about it, I want to DM. Like I want to do that. I want to put the work in. I
like the book, but the book is there's pluses and minuses, man. I don't know. It's like in the world where I just get to make up whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Theoretically, there's zero preparation.
Well,
I am gonna just literally, and I imagine it just having ChatGPT ready.
Yeah,
and it's like they're asking some guy, well, what's the history of this town? Like, how's this established? Boom, put in that prompt. Yeah. Well, this is established 500 years ago by Dorothy McDorferson, and he founded this because there's a big deposit of copper in the stream, and it's a mining town, and then blah blah blah, and here's the main export. Here's the main, like, ChatGPT is fantastic for that shit. Like I've played with that where it's like, okay, give me a country in a made up fantasy world. Yeah, and it's like, oh, here's the name of the country. Blah blah blah. Oh, great. Tell me more about it. Like, what's the main export? What is it known for? And it's like, here's the government structure. Blah blah. It's just, and the levels, layers you can get. Yeah. Because you just keep feeding it inputs. It's like you can get so granular with it so quickly. Yeah. Right? So it's like,
and can you do that in a way that isn't like behind the scenes, and you kind of just make it somewhat organic, or like, as players are feeling certain things out, like you could be doing that.
Yeah, right. You'd have to, you're right. Yeah. You'd have to do that in a way that's not jarring, but I think it's such a good tool.
It's 1,000%.
Yeah.
But imagine if you had two people doing it, where if one person was like,
it's just
focusing on notes and
right. Really, that's how you do it.
Doing that,
they're talking to an NPC, and
it's just taking the pressure off, because as a solo person, you have to be doing so much stuff and trying to do, and if you don't have everything ready for every situation, which is impossible to do anyway, you have these lulls, or people get on their phones and stuff, and it's like it's just a very tough.
Well, that's why an AI is the best DM of all time.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
a perfect AI. You could play. It would be the best game ever.
Yeah,
you put in the prompts. Here's how I want to play. Here's my configuration.
It really just goes to like the number of responses you can get and like how deep you can go, because like for that type of stuff, it would have to recall a lot of information.
Yeah, you'd have to have the memory would have to be the callbacks, so you didn't need like a supercomputer.
I want to just start putting some stuff on paper. I want to get that.
It's just, dude, if anything else, it's just a good exercise in just being creative. Yeah. Right. Even if it never comes to light, it's like fun to.
It would
put
be
stuff on there.
It would be fun just for like, even if it didn't have to be recording. Even if we never played, it'd be cool just to have a creative outlet, brainstorm, putting post-its up, and just drawing things and building things. Like,
right.
You need that every now and then.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, I have a lot of fun with it. And that's why I like DMing, but it's also a lot of pressure.
Sure.
Because like I was like that whole week, I was like, I have a session this Friday.
How many people you have?
2, 3, 4. 4 players and me.
4
so
players
5 total.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a good, healthy, it's the perfect number in my opinion. 4.
We have what, 6?
We have 6,
yeah,
which is
tough.
On the larger end. I wouldn't do any more than that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's doable, but I would not do any more than that. Because even you see that like people are trying to get words in.
Yep.
It's tough. Everyone wants to have their moment.
Split it. I would say 5 would be my ideal, because then you'd always have a tiebreaker. You would always have like, like if the party's split on something, you would always be able to kind of.
Well, I always do this thing where, and people hate this, but I always do it. I don't know why. I always have like an NPC in their party.
Yeah.
More or less, unless they like absolutely refuse.
Sure.
But like my NPC, like characters usually attached to one of my NPCs, and they bring them along in the party. So it's like generally I'm playing someone, so
I got you.
Be the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Which helps and hurts, because it's like obviously I know what's coming up, but it helps in the fact where it's like, okay, this will make more narrative sense, so I'm going to vote this way.
You can kind of like massage
it in a way that's a little bit more natural than just saying, hey guys, maybe you should think about this. It's like, the character might be like, have we considered this?
Yeah.
So generally I have to make them a smart NPC.
Sure.
Incredible foresight, but
It's good narrative.
Or I can do the opposite where they're a dumb NPC and I just have them do the wrong tiebreaker every time, which might be a little bit more chaotic.
Or do the thing where it's like you have an NPC that gets with a party and then like the first dungeon, they just run out ahead and just get obliterated by like a trap or something.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, like just so you know.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Right now they have what? So in this prison one, it was interesting. They gave me like this book is so tough to run because it was like the first chapter is like, here's 12 NPCs, all the prisoners in the party. Here's a fucking ton of information about their backstory. And I was like, Jesus.
Yep.
So I killed a lot of them off and this and that. So they have one left, this dwarven girl.
Yeah.
And the thing with her is that she's the king's daughter, but she only told one of the party this. Like the cleric that's kind of been rezzing her and stuff because she gets annihilated in all these fights. She's like, hey, you know, I got to tell you, I got to get something off my chest. And then it's like, he knows this, but nobody else knows this. So it's like a big deal. But I don't think they resonate with her well. And the reason for that is a very technical reason. I try to do an accent with her, and I'm very bad at it. So whenever I talk with her, it's a fucking disaster. So I try not to talk with her a lot. Yeah, and that hurts the attachment. That's
you need to.
Yeah. So they just met this gnome guy though, who's like an alchemist.
Okay,
and they love him. So it's like, okay, here's the new party member. Yeah, like I just know they're gonna want to take him with them. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Anyways, all right. I digress. I'm just having a lot of fun with it right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point.
It is the point.
Yeah.
But next session's gonna be terrible, and then I'm gonna be like, I don't even know why I DM. It's such a roller coaster.
Yeah. Maybe get a ride on that high, and
it's such a roller coaster, man. One week to the next.
If people are telling you that they like the session, like prod them a little bit and see if you can get some more. Like what specifically? What did you like about it?
Well, they said they loved the purple worm sequence. They loved, because they were like writing down, and they're like, I just saw them. Like generally, when it's not your turn, what do? They go on their phone, they whatever.
Right.
They were like thinking. They're looking at their paper. What can I do next? I'm like trying to think. They're talking to their neighbor, like, oh, what do you think I could do this? It was beautiful to watch in real time.
Right.
Like just the wheels turning, and one guy's up doing their thing, and the rest of them are either seeing what he's doing to get an idea or just brainstorming about what their next turn is going to be. Yeah. It was awesome.
Starting to make, like, taking that and then maybe even adding a layer of, like, you can use this check again, but you have to do it in conjunction with, like, somebody else and, like, partner stuff up. Where it's like, how do you use these skills together to amplify whatever and try
That's
to,
a great idea. Like, okay, maybe you use this, but he hasn't. So you can do a joint operation, but you have to bring something to the table that you haven't used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like depending on how they roll.
But the role is always, I need a description of what happened, like how this helps you.
Right.
And as long as it's creative enough and they put enough effort into it, I always allow it. But I just like that thought exercise of it's good. Especially when it's like turn 6 and they've gone through all their good skills and now they're getting to the dicey ones.
Yep.
And they're like, I'm going to try this. So I'm not very good at it. It's like awesome to see.
Yeah. I guess I'll do a survival medicine check or whatever. Yeah.
No, it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
All right. Well, sorry. I went long on that, but
D&D's always awesome.
Good time. That's what I had.
That's almost 3 hour hog.
Yeah, no, I went long on that.
We had a lot
Apologize.
to talk about. That's all good.
But yeah, if you made it this far, we sincerely appreciate the listen. Check us out, couchcompany.games. Got our reviews scores on there.
Yeah, I'm working on the Prince of Persia.
We're working on the reviews. I sent Tyler my notes officially, so it's the ball's out
on the
of my
record.
court.
It's my.
No, I know Tyler's going to do a great job with it, and it's tough to formulate that. We're learning a lot too. I know that you were telling me like getting the structure down and the flow.
Yeah, like the order of how I want to write it makes more. I'm just tweaking some stuff, but yeah, it'll be good.
No, it's gonna be great. So I'm eager for that. Couchcompany.games. And that's about it. We're going to be here, same time, same place next week. Thanks for joining us on the couch.